Alright. Second day. So, disclaimer. These are the rantings of an insane person. These are not in any way should be taken seriously. So that gives me a legal disclaimer for anything I say. That'd be kind of cool, right? Like, I wonder if you could do that, like, legally. You go into a movie theater and you're like, everything I say is crazy, and then you scream fire. Would the two counteract each other? You know, like, I went into a movie theater. I told them everything I say is bullshit, and then I scream fire. I was like, fire. That's not that funny. I mean, it is. It could be funny. Oh, I had a joke yesterday I was going to do, and I didn't do it. I forgot to do it, so I need to start writing down some of the jokes I'm going to do beforehand. Otherwise, I'll forget to do them. One of the jokes I had is in like Israel and in the Middle East, they have these bombs, you know, like a normal 500 or 1,000 pound bomb. I don't know the kill radius of it, but it might be like 25, 50 meters. So if you dropped a bomb on like a car, it might blow up like 10 cars. So that, I mean, I'm making an analogy up here. Like, let's say you were in a traffic intersection. You're a human being. You've been in the traffic intersection, and someone wanted to drop a bomb on you. It might blow up like 15 cars maybe. So the U.S. made this bomb that would only blow up like one car, but it wasn't like a bomb. Like a bomb normally works like a grenade. A grenade is like explosive around a pineapple shrapnel stuff, like metal, and the explosive blows up and the shrapnel goes out like bullets. Well, this bomb was more like it was like a javelin they would drop from the sky. It might have explosives in it, I don't know. It might not, but it would only kill like the one car, right? It wouldn't kill 10 cars, it would just kill the one car. And, you know, it would kill everybody in the car probably. So, like, let's say you were the driver for some bad fella. It would kill the driver still, so that kind of sucks because he was innocent, right? The driver of the bad guy would be innocent, but the cars around him would not get blown up, which is good, right? So, like, imagine you drop a 2,000 pound bomb in a traffic intersection and it blows up a whole block. And then there's this other bomb that just kills everybody in the one car. And maybe it breaks the windows around the other cars. It might hurt other cars. I don't know. I saw this on a YouTube video, right? I'm not an expert at this javelin from the sky bomb. I'm just ranting and raving. Oh, also, I had this idea where was this joke going? This joke was going, oh, all my jokes are gonna be Donald Trump jokes because you know, he's the zeitgeist. And here was the joke. The joke was, it's like his anniversary. So he has like the U.S. military fly overhead, and like 30 feet, like 50 yards ahead of him, they drop one of those. In my analogy, it's more of a javelin than it is a bomb. There's no explosives in it, and on the top of it, it's got like a $1 million. He's like walking with his wife. It's his anniversary or something, and he puts the $1 million diamond necklace on it. I don't know. That's an idea, right? You know, 'cause that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty romantic. You could have a javelin land. It might weigh like 500, 1,000, 2,000 pounds. On the top of it, it's got like a couple $1 million, you know, Hope diamond necklace. It's just an idea I had. Very romantic, right? So stupid. Okay, let's see other jokes. Jelly. Oh, I was doing this thing. I was thinking in my head. I was like, so where is this thing going? You know, because I'm gonna rant to myself. Probably until I blow my brains out. Or, you know, I'm just gonna have to do this for the rest of my life, I guess. Just walk around aimlessly and make commentary about stupid things. And I was thinking like, oh, what is the point of this? You know, because like the one thing would be to do like a confession. Because like back in the old days, they had the Catholic priests, and you could confess everything. And now you can confess everything to like an abstract YouTube algorithm god. And then I was thinking like, I'm gonna get 0 views, but that's not the point. The point is the confession. The confession. It's not about the views. It's about the Where was I going with this? Oh, I was gonna go with the fact that no one is gonna watch these views. I'm gonna gain respect for humanity, because right now I hate you people. I literally hate all 8 billion people. But the fact that I'm gonna have like 1,000 hours, 10,000 hours of me ranting, and I'm gonna have 0 views on all the videos, I'm gonna have so much respect for you people. It's gonna be like I'm gonna gain, because that's what I want. I want to have some filial piety towards humanity. I want to have some, I want to look at, George Washington is a terrorist, or he's the founding father, and I just see you all as, terrorists, basically. He rebelled against that king of England. Should have hung, in my opinion. It's a joke. I'm not anti-joke. The joke is that if you don't get the joke, you don't get the joke. And no one's going to see this video anyway, so you don't need to get the joke. So, it's like, you ever see Back to the Future? You know how, like, Marty's trying to get his parents to fuck at the prom or something? Or he'll die? Like, if you gave me a time machine, I'd go back in time. I'd kill Adam and Eve. I'd blow both their brains out. Zemeckis never saw that one coming, right? Terrible joke. I'd play, what is it, the Barry song? What's the song he has to play? You get the guitar. I bring a guitar. I go back in time. Kill them both. I find that puddle. You ever see, who Q is from Star Trek? The first episode of The Next Generation has this prankster guy called Q. QAnon. His name is QAnon. Played by Delancey. And then the last episode of The Next Generation has him. There's supposedly like Picard fucks with because Gene Roddenberry was one of them people who believed that like puddles of ooze mixed together to form amino acid shit. And, he didn't know that it was just Adam and Eve. But, Picard accidentally fucks with that puddle of ooze, mixing with the other puddle of ooze. And, he messes up the creation of humanity because it's something about multiple dimensions or something. I don't know. They were doing a lot of drugs back then. A lot of drugs. What other jokes? That was that book. You're just stealing the intro of that one book you read where it's like, this is not the story of a hero. This is the story of a scoundrel. I'm a scoundrel. And it's all my confessions will be scoundrelish. I was going to do scoundrel confessions. That'd be a good YouTube channel name, Scoundrel Confessions. And, either Soft White Underbelly. Soft White Underbelly, he interviews like crackheads and, meth addicts. This one would be like, you just interview scoundrels. And, they brag about how they robbed a bank, or they, the Lufthansa flight from Goodfellas. Maybe they brag about that, or this is how we got away with it. Walking around. It's not that bad. I got a t-shirt on and a long sleeve orange shirt. I didn't wear a sweater underneath. I don't think it's going to be that hot or cold. So, talking to the zeitgeist of YouTube. Now, here's a good question. If you were like if you had unlimited power, would you have like a computer algorithm watch all the YouTube videos so that you could get the zeitgeist of the protists? Because you want to know how the protists think, right? You want to know how that bottom, you want to know how the base of the pyramid is doing. If you're a good leader, you want to know how the base is doing, the base of the pyramid. Oh, well. I don't think I watched the news today, so if there's something that happened in the news, I don't know. Oh, Trump's going to fire postal workers, or I did that joke yesterday. DEI, DIY. I already did that joke. What other jokes do I have? The joke, I don't remember what jokes I did yesterday. See, you have to remember, I've been walking around for like a month or two. talking to myself, but I just started uploading because the videos were 10 gigs an hour. I can't upload that. I can upload like a gig or two, but I can't upload a 30 gig file. I don't have the patience. I'm lazy. It's too much work. Way too much work. 30 gigs? Holy shit, that would take like 24 hours, 48 hours. I wouldn't be able to keep up with the 2 or 3 hour walking that I do. So I'm only walking for like 2 or 3 hours, right? So it would be... They need to ally YouTube. This is a really terrible idea. Whoever invented this idea that anybody can say anything and let other people see it, that person was an idiot. Holy moly. Like, have you met the people in this world? Most of these people should not be having a voice. Like me, I should not have a voice. You know, like why the fuck would someone give me a voice? It's a terrible idea. I object to this ostensibly. YouTube is back in the old days, the kings would monitor what books were made because they had the Gutenberg press, and that was around Luther, right? I don't know. I need to know a Luther date. I need to have one Luther date in my head so I can be like, Luther nailed his thesis to the wall in blah 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 year. I need that date in my head so I can sound smart, because I don't sound smart when I don't. 15 something. I have a 100-year span. He's somewhere in there, right? I don't know where he is in that 1500-year span, but he's somewhere in there. And then there's a Gutenberg press, and these people would put these little metal plates on a wooden thing, and then you can mass produce a book or a pamphlet. You know, pamphlets are pretty cool too. And then, you know, if you're the king, you don't want people making pamphlets and books that are negative. So they used to like make them have stamps and stuff, I think. Like the king wouldn't let you couldn't write a book called Kings Are Shitty People and They Should All Be Hanged. You get in trouble if you wrote a book called Kings Are Bad and They Should All Be Hanged. So the king would not allow those books to be written. When I was a kid, there was one called like the Anarchist Cookbook, and it would teach you how to make a bomb. You don't want people knowing how to make bombs. You gotta hide that information, you know. There's some two queening agents that if you mix them together while you're queening, it'll make a gas and it'll kill you. So don't do that. And then there's Mythbusters did something where if you're a farmer, you can mix these two things together and make HME. That's good for the Mythbusters. And they didn't share it. They were smart. They said, we're not going to share how you make HME. I need to learn to make HME. I know the ingredients, but I don't know. There's a process to it. That'd be kind of fun. You know, then again, those pipe bombs, didn't those kids who were the bad kids, they would make like pipe bombs and shit, but they did it with like gunpowder. Also, HME, is it inefficient? I don't think it's that efficient. I don't want to make bombs. What am I gonna do? My bombs are gonna be my words, you know, because the sword and the pen. The YouTube video is the new pen, right? You know, some people think the isn't there some like pen and sword and gun and sword thing analogy? Isn't there some smart guy who made that analogy? Like, the pen is mightier than the sword. The YouTube video is more powerful than HME, right? It's gonna be the new version of it. Wasn't that like what the Arab Spring was? Like, the Arab Spring was like some YouTube kids or something, or some Facebook kids or something. I don't know. There's gonna be FBI agents at my house now because I talked about that shit. I don't have no desire to make HME. It's an analogy. It's a HME. Words are an HME now. It's made with concrete and water. You put concrete and water in a thing, you stir it, and then you stand in it for 24 hours. And I'm trying to get all the people who want to make HME, and I'm trying to get them stuck in concrete. That's my goal here. It's not going to work, right? Like, they're not that stupid. Maybe they are. how to make HME. Buy some concrete, mix some water in, stand in the concrete, and then wait 24 hours. Let it harden up. Once it's hardened up, starve to death, please. Because you're attached to like a big, hopefully you made a lot of concrete, like, 200-300 pounds, and you won't be able to get out of the concrete, and you'll be dead because you won't be able to get food because you'll have 300 pounds of concrete attached to you. I'm an intellectual mobster. I don't pour concrete on your feet. I get you to pour concrete on yourself, and then you starve to death. Ooh, genius. Or stupid, or genius, or stupid, or genius, or stupid, or both. Both. Stupid, it was just stupid. No one's gonna attach 300 pounds of concrete to themselves because I told them how to make HME is you put 300 pounds of concrete on yourself. Maybe. Oh, I was gonna do a confession about okay, so I guess if this is gonna be of any value, I have to do confessions. So I was talking about confessions earlier. So the confession would be, there was this I haven't read a book in like 10 or 15 years probably. I sometimes listen to like short stories on YouTube. There was this short story by David Foster Wallace called How This Tennis Girl Broke His Heart. It's called How Tracy Something Broke My Heart. And it's about, because the writer of this was, he was like ranked top 1,000 in America for like tennis. But he couldn't like hack it as a real tennis person. He wouldn't have made it, and like, I don't think he would have made it like tennis. Like, I don't know the numbers of tennis. How many people are in the top, because there's 7 million people or 8 million people. There's 8 billion people in the world. So the top 1% of tennis people would be, like, how many people? That'd be a lot of people. That'd be in the millions, right? It would be, the top 1% of all tennis people would be, what's 1% of 8 billion? 1% of a billion would be, I don't know, I can't do math in my head that well. 1% of a billion would be, what's 1% of a billion? Seriously, I can't do that in my head. 100 times. Subtract 2 zeros off a billion. 1, 2. Is it a million? Is 1% of a billion a million? So if there'd be 8 million. The top 1% of tennis players would be, is it 8 million? Is that? It's gotta be bigger than that. I don't know. It's a number. You can go do the math, get a calculator. I don't feel like doing the math. It's either 8 million or 80. It's some multiple of something. So, the number of people you watch on TV who play tennis is like 100 probably. So it's like the 0.001 of people who are because the top 1% don't matter. It's the top 0.00. The NBA. How many people are in the NBA? I don't watch basketball, but basketball has, 20 teams? 20 teams times, I don't know. How many teams are there in the NBA? Like 30, 40, 50? 50 times 10 would be 500. So let's say 2,000 people in the world play NBA basketball at an NBA level. What's 2,000 divided by 8 billion? It's a number. It's a percentage. It's a, So I can't make fun of NBA players because they're the top point. Whatever. You have to go do the math. I don't want to do the math. I do have a notebook and a pad. I can use that to do the math, but I have to show my work, and I don't feel like doing that. There was 2 jokes I was going to do. I was working at a blue collar shop, and he's calling it a blue collar shop. That's so mean. And the guy who's my boss, or I don't know, you get boss. Like there's owner, there's like foremans. If you're in the army, there's the officer, and then there's the NCOs. I guess the officer would be more of an owner class. if you want to be commie about it, owners care more than, because you weight things. In the real world, you weight things. So if, like, you chop your hand off on a machine or something, that's a big deal to you. It's a rule break probably, but there's a million rule breaks, right? So, the NCOs or the managerial class, they don't own it, but they manage it. So, then again, who owns anything anymore? Like, nobody owns anything. It's like the 1% own everything, and then everybody else is a manager. So we're all managing something we don't own, I guess. I don't know. For my analogy, I'm trying to express what this person was. So they would have been a manager, or they would have been an NCO. And for me, I would look at this shop and I'd go, this is the dumbest run shop I've ever seen, because in my head, you break work down into, like, there was a TV show when I was a kid called The Jetsons. And the Jetsons guy, he made sprockets. I have no clue what a fucking sprocket is. So as a narcissist, I look at management, I go, it's like, you make sprockets by breaking the work down into individual tasks. You probably divide it into time. You have so much time you expect each part of the sprocket to take. And then, but sprockets don't exist. They're made up. It's from a cartoon show. It's like the Flintstones, but in the future. That was what the Jetsons were. So, do people know what the Jetsons are? It's the opposite of the Flintstones. But so sprockets don't exist, and if you were making sprockets, you'd probably divide the work up into time manageable pieces, and then you'd assign, like, reasonable expectations per each unit of work. You'd break it down into pieces, and I guess, I don't know. I don't even know how to make a sprocket, so don't ask me. Maybe that's what I am. I can make sprockets cerebrally, but I can't make sprockets, right? So that's true. Ooh, volleyball. Nice. The premise of this joke is, I look at this shop, and so I'm going to use two words I shouldn't use. I'm going to use them. It's twink and bara. Twink in the homosexual community is like a skinny guy, kind of a weak male, I guess, would be the twink analogy, and then the bara would be, like, if I was hooking up with Brock Lesnar would be a bara, right? Or would he be a bara? Probably. So, this boss-esque figure, they had no cameras out there. They weren't doing any paperwork. They weren't doing what I would view as management. But then again, management is managing people. And I don't want to be managed, so it might just be that I'm a shitty employee. I probably am a shitty employee. I'm a shitty employee. I'd fire me. But they aren't doing any of these, like, semi-common sense shit. And then this manager guy is hassling me over small stuff, and then, like, there's, like, it'd be like if your hand was cut off, and you're walking around, and the guy's complaining that your right glove is off. My left hand is bleeding, and you're complaining that I'm not wearing my right glove. As an analogy, it wasn't that bad. It was he was trying to turn this other employee into his twink. Like, in narcissism they call it a flying monkey. Flying monkey is when you get someone to be your bitch, I guess. But then again, if I'm going to play devil's advocate and I'm going to be against myself, because that's the goal of this. The goal is it's easy to shit on other people. Let's see, I'm going to shit on myself here. So, earlier when I worked there, they had problems with they had a forklift and you had to move shit around. And I grabbed this, I don't have a license for a forklift, but I would grab stuff. I could get on the forklift and grab my shit, because they didn't manage their forklift drivers that well. I broke some rules. Technically, I broke some rules, and I almost, I guess technically I did. I almost hurt someone with a forklift, so I guess that's my sin. That's a sin I have there. What other sins do I have? I was really, I was at the end of a line that made something, and then I would do like a polishing thing. And so these people would not finish their work, and then I would draw. I went and bought a paint marker because I didn't know how to weld at the time, and I would draw these big fucking arrows, and then I had to get a forklift guy to take the thing back over to them to fix it, and I would draw like 2 or 3 arrows because they would miss shit, and then and then sometimes I get the same thing back because I have to repolish what they did, and there would be a big fucking arrow and they hadn't fixed it, and I had like 5 or 6 of these units of these sprockets. We'll call them sprockets. In my area, and I get them mixed up, so I wanted them numbered. I was like, why don't you just fucking, because they were making like 20 sprockets. They'd make like 10 sprockets a day, 5-10 sprockets a day, and I think they cost like 500. Like the end price is probably 500 or 1,000 per sprocket. It's my guess. Because they had 5 or 10 people, 5 people on the lawn probably making sprockets, and so I was like, can you just fucking number your... I did it rudely. In hindsight, I should have been nicer. Because, when you number them, if you're sending them back to them and you're like, number 4 had 4 mistakes in the sprocket, but I was rude. I was probably like, why don't you fucking number them, I probably said something like that. And, and then I was like, hey, do you not know how to do basic break work down into pieces? And my understanding is the kid, I'm going to call him the kid because he's the Antichrist in this story, because your enemy is always your Antichrist. You always need an Antichrist to fight. I'm not even religious and I believe in the Antichrist. So this Antichrist character, he was like, yeah, I know how to do that. And his definition of knowing how to do it is 2 years later he's going to try and get me to do the thing I told him to do 2 years ago. Fuck you, I'm not doing that. I will cut my nose off to spite my face, as the old aphorism goes. The aphorism of cutting your nose off to spite your face comes from these nuns who were going to get raped or something by these Cossacks or Huns. So they grabbed a razor and they cut their noses off, and the Huns looked at them and they're like, I don't want to fuck a lady who just cut her fucking nose off. That's disgusting. It's like a Glasgow smile, I guess. Just walked up a hill, sorry. Glasgow smile is like the Joker thing, where you cut a smile on your face. That's more of a feminine thing, cutting your nose off is a little cooler, I think. Cut your nose to spite your face. I'm not going to let someone lie to my face and say, I know how to do basic. He knows how to do basic management because he's gonna wait 2 years and have me do what I told him to fucking do 2 years ago. Fuck you. I'll go grab a razor. That's probably what happened. I don't know. And I don't know. That's probably what happened. I'm just a cut my nose to spite my face guy. I got that pride, man. You gotta have the pride. You gotta be able to pull that razor out. Otherwise, I'll rape you, Surrounded by... humans were made in God's image, and God is a pretty bad guy when you look at... If you ever looked at humans, you people are pretty bad, man. I'll tell you, he's some disgusting fuckers. He says, looking in the mirror. Okay, that's one confession. My second confession, it was Barra and Twink. So he had this twinkish worker. The worker was a guy. My understanding was he was the weaker of the workers. And he walks up to him and he has this twinkish fella. And he bullies him. He bullies me in front of him, provoking him to bully me too. So, there's a part of me, there's a stupid part of me. It's a part of me that I'm smart enough to try and keep it down. If I was going to do something stupid, if I was ever going to be a dumb person, I'd go after this person. Because, you got to be careful of narcissists and how they create flying monkeys, says the narcissist. Be wary of narcissists, says the narcissist. I'm a cauldron calling pots black. I'm a pot calling cauldrons black. Okay, So second story, that was twink. And bear would be like a in the homosexual community, it would be like a Brock Lesnar-esque. It's a bear, I guess, a bear. I shouldn't know these terms. Why do I know these terms? I don't think I've ever jerked off to gay porn, so I mean, I know the terms because, why do I know the terms? That's a good question. Why do I know the terms? I don't know the, okay, so a bear, a beara, B-A-R-A. I learned that, I think I learned the terms off Civet AI because I was using some, then again, that sounds bad though too, because all I care about is appearance. I don't care about reality. That's the moral of this story. Beara. So, Beara. I was talking about athletics. There's a person out here. I just don't want to do the joke when they're there. I gotta get in a freer area to this joke, this confession. Confession was, okay, I was in the Army for 4 years. There was a guy. I was talking about, the NBA is the top, let's say 1,000 people. I don't know, I don't watch the NBA, so let's say 2,000 people in the world could play NBA level. I don't know, you're an NBA expert, 5,000 people in the world could play NBA level basketball. So this person had been in the minor leagues of, not basketball, but another sport, and so they're the top, let's say top 0.5% of athleticism, okay? So that's where it connects to Beara, and Beara is muscular, and let's see, where was this joke going? I didn't like that guy either, man. I just want to fight people. I'm constantly trying to fight people. I gotta learn to not cut my nose and fight people. I'm not doing that joke yet. I'll wait later. I'll do that joke some other day. Yeah, this isn't gonna end well. Jelly and jam. That was a joke I have. It's a joke about jelly. It would be like, I'm jealous of Donald Trump because he has like 1,000 747s and I don't have a 747. But jam is like, if you don't like country or you don't like rap, are you jelly of rap and country? Or is it just not your jam? How do you know the difference between when you're jelly versus it's not your jam? That was the premise of the joke. How do you know the difference between when you're jelly of something and when it's just like, oh, I guess jelly would be more of a visceral hatred reaction. It's more guttural, it's more hatredish. It's more, like this piece of dog shit wants to say he knows how to do something, and by knowing how to do something, he means 2 years from now he's going to have me do what I asked him to do 2 years ago. That's jelly, because he outsmarted me. I guess technically he outsmarted me then. So, I don't like being outsmarted. So I'm jelly. Or is it my jam? It's jelly? I'm going to go with he's the Antichrist, and he needs to be, whatever happens to Antichrists. Antichrists. There are multiple Antichrists. Every day you wake up, there's a new Antichrist you gotta worry about. It's a joke. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I need to. You're all living in a state of Jackalia. You're all Yakub. You're all Yakub jelly. Oh well. Let me think. Did I write any other jokes down in my notebook? I don't remember. I gotta work this out here, I guess. I got drone bomb spike. Oh, some kid on Facebook, and I have Bear a twink, and I have gender shirt. There's some douchebag on Fox News who he was like a middle schooler, and he's got a shirt that says there are only two genders. And I don't really give a shit about the two gender thing. I mean, I don't know. Statistically, is there like a 0.5 hermaphrodite? There's two genders plus 0.1% hermaphrodite. I don't care. It's like, why do you have to turn it? They should force kids to wear school uniforms. That's my opinion. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to have opinions at school. You're there to learn the colors. If you want to talk about that, go to a coffee shop. No shirts with words. That would be my solution. That'd be a good solution. No shirts with words. And that way, because I don't want to see Black Lives Matter when I'm at school. I don't want to see, because I believe there's only one gender, and that's, I don't know, if you believe in one gender, you're a Democrat, and if you believe in more than two, you're a Democrat. But two is the conservative, or what? Maybe does that work? I don't know. I believe there are zero genders. I believe gender that would be leftist. That would be leftist, right? Because gender as a construct is a leftist idea. So if you say there's zero genders, you'd be a lefty. And my goal is to not be a lefty or a righty. I don't want to be in any of your fucking groups. I hate all your groups. So I want to make sure that whatever I am, there aren't two genders, I'll tell you that, and there ain't a million genders. You're both wrong. That's my answer. Does that work? Maybe? I don't know. Just a contrarian without a point. I'm a contrarian without a point. Fuck. I bet those people are annoying to deal with. I wouldn't want to be around them. Contrarians without points. Stupid kid with a stupid shirt. Grab me a razor, cut my nose off. How many genders are there? I don't know. I'm not a gender person. Probably two, probably more. Probably a billion. What about gender in what about the animal kingdom? Don't the bacteria, don't they split and divide? Are they're asexual, so there's like three genders. Or there's two genders in humanity, but there's three genders in the animal kingdom? Are there more? What about like viruses and, viruses aren't technically alive, right? That was what they told me in biology. Or do I only believe that because they told it? Virus lives matter, okay? Viruses connect to a living thing, and then they reproduce by connecting to something that's alive, but they themselves cannot reproduce. So virus lives matter. Virus lives matter. I'm a virus. I'm Cyrus the virus. Cyrus the virus. Are viruses not alive? I guess they aren't. Who gets to determine what life is? Ooh, there you go. My personal opinion is that since virus lives don't matter, if you can't keep up, if you can't tell the difference between 1 and 3, and you think that 1 and 3 are the same number, you're a virus. Ooh, I gotcha. Ooh, haha. Piss everybody off now. That's the goal. The goal is to come up with something that can piss everybody off. If I can piss everybody off, I'll solve the problem. That's how you solve the problem. You make a problem so big that the left and the right have to unite. Unite the right. Unite the left and the right behind something. You need like an alien invasion. You need an Ozymandias character to make some squid monster thingy. Maybe. Says then Ozymandias was a narcissist, especially in the TV show. They really played up his narcissism in that show. They ruined the Rorschach. Rorschach became like a right-wing figure. Ruining Rorschach. But he was always a right-wing figure, right? Maybe. Poor old Rorschach. Give me back my face. I need my face. I need my face. Give me back my face. Give me back my face. Give me back my face. I'm going the opposite way. Here's the house I was telling you about that has congratulate NASA. The crazy people. Oh well. What jokes do I know? These aren't really jokes. These are Something. Maybe I should find a new way to walk around the city. I gotta find a new way. Should find a new city. I should find I'll walk around in the forest. I need to find a forest to walk around. Need to find a. That's why people in the past would walk around forests and stuff. You know, you gotta get away from. That way, when you talk to your phone, back in the 1700s, you know, you talk to your phone, you go into the forest and walk around and talk to your phone. Talk to YouTube. Talk to YouTube. Barra. I don't really have any other jokes. Drop a bomb. It's not a bomb. It's a pole. It's a launch. It's like a pole vault or a javelin. A javelin is a anti-tank missile. This is I think it's non-explosive, or it's low explosive. It's not a 2,000-pound bomb. It's a javelin. You know what a javelin is. It's like a big arrow. So, what else? You shouldn't make fun of that poor kid. He's just wearing a shirt because his parents gave it to him, probably. Or maybe he went and bought it on YouTube, or he worked at the grocery store, saved up his $20, went to T Public and said, I would like a shirt that says there are only 2 sexes. I haven't done this joke. I mean, I've done it in the past on my past videos, but I haven't done this joke here. You know, I haven't uploaded it yet. So here's a joke. Hitler, when he was in like high school, he worked at like a grocery store or a delicatessen or a, what's a German sounding store? Delicatessen. Is that Jewish or is that German? Delicatessen? I don't know. Kindergarten? He worked at a kindergarten? No, he worked at a can store. He worked at a meat packing factory. He worked somewhere. He was in high school, and he was like he asked this girl to go down to the lake. There are no oceans. He was just from Austria. He wasn't from Germany. He was from not Austria. He was from Bohemia. I think Bohemia is in Austria, right? Or not Austria. Where is it? Is it Czechoslovakia? I don't know. It wasn't German. He was a country that touched Germany, but Bohemia? Where the fuck is Bohemia? Bohemia doesn't touch the ocean, so he asked what's the not Heffa. There's some word for like a German lady. Hessen? No. Whatever. He was like, we're gonna go down he asked her to go on a picnic with him down to the pond. And they have sand at the pond. And he had saved up $50. 50 in today's money, like 30, 40. He bought some Wiener Schnitzel, bought some expensive cheeses. I don't know if in Germany or Austria or Bohemia, if you can buy wine. Maybe you can buy wine. Those Europeans are a little progressive for my taste. He had a picnic basket of expensive foods that he had worked hard for. And he had invited there's a website called My Dirty Hobby, which was a porn site, but it's kind of like Clips for Sale, but before Clips for Sale. And there's some German lady on that. She had a name, and it was like a Germanish sounding name. It's a word for Hausfrau? Frau. Maybe Frau would be a good word. My Dirty Hobby. Oh, well, so he invites the lady down to the pond for his picnic. He's got his best clothes on. Good old Adolf. And good old Adolf puts his picnic blanket down. Beautiful blanket. Beautiful cheese. Beautiful Wiener Schnitzel. He wants to give the lady his Wiener Schnitzel. See, it's a double entendre. Is it? Nope. And, this mean kid from the class comes up. His name was Hola. Hola kicks sand in his sand in an old Hitler's face. And, you know, his Hausfrau, his, whatever, I need to find a better word. She walks off with old Holla. And old Holla, little did Holla know, you know, Holla Kostenstein, that on that day, that's the worst joke ever. The joke is that Hitler went to a pond with a picnic and Holla Kostenstein, the Jewish kid from class, kicked sand in his face. Really? That's your joke? That's your fucking... That's a great joke. That's my best joke I've ever written. That joke is like a 10 out of 10 joke. The American Jewish Defensive League's gonna crucify me for that joke. There's no evidence that that happened. It's a made-up story. Jewish Defensive League, the ADL, I don't know, I'm bored. I'm just stirring in the pot because I'm bored. I'm bored, so I will stir the pot by making Hitler jokes. It's all Holla Kostenstein's fault. But then again, Hitler should have gotten one of them. In the 1920s, didn't they have that, like, you can lift weights by using your own you like hold your arm and then you use your arm's weight as its own weight. I don't know. The joke is so dumb. They could just sell pamphlets back then, because if you don't have to have like exercise equipment, you could just use your own. You grab your arm with your other arm and you use your arm as resistance, I guess. It's resistance training using your other arm. And this guy would sell pamphlets. Because Gutenberg made it so pamphlets were really cheap. Pamphlets, you just have a Gutenberg press and you can make pamphlets for dirt cheap. And this fella from the 20s or 10s, he taught people not to let people kick sand in their face by doing resistance training. Because when I was a kid, they had Chuck Norris, he had resistance training, but it was like metal bars and the bars would bend. So, but in the 20s and 10s, they had pamphlets where you used your own arm to do resistance training. I don't know, or maybe it was the 30s, I don't know. It's a made-up story. These are not true stories. These are the ramblings of an insane person. I kind of like that joke. It's so stupid. It's all Holla Kostenstein's fault. Holla, well, is there a better name for Holla? There would be a male name. Hollander. His name was Hollander. People called him Holla. What's going on, Holla? No, that doesn't sound reasonable. Holla Kostenstein. Holla Kostenstein. Why did you kick sand in some fella's face at a pond? There's no threats in this. These are, what if you get arrested for, like, these are veiled threats? You call someone the Antichrist, which is sort of like calling someone a Jew, right? Like, hatred is it's an addicting feeling, hatred. Ooh. I always want to do my Frank Underwood impression. Oh, I hate you. And then I want to turn to the camera and be like, I'm just making this up. I'm making this up. Do 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 do. That's a weird question, like, how do managers work? Why do managers care? Like, I can understand if you own something you can care, but that's kind of commie sounding, right? You're paid to care, but you don't. How can you care? You're really just managing people. And you're managing people for something you don't own. I despise the idea of being managed. Something about it just angers me. Someone else thinks they can put me in their brain. Like, you think you can put me in a box? You can't put me in a box. I'm unboxable. I will gnaw my hand and my arm off. I'm an animal. Aren't there bears? Zebras never got domesticated. Horses got domesticated. I'm not domesticated. I refuse to be domesticated. I will not be domesticated. Ha ha ha. Technically, that just means you're an antisocial person, right? I think that's what society would say. Like, domestication is a good thing. You know, take your sugar cube, horse. Take your sugar cube. Eat your oats. Is that a good analogy? Maybe. Makes me sound like a commie. I don't want to sound like a commie. I don't like the commies. Oh yeah, I was talking about Ayn Rand yesterday. I think she was like a pharmacist, and her parents were pharmacists in Russia. And I don't know, what does that have to do with anything? There's the commies, they had the kulaks, and they had the kulaks were the good farmers, I guess. The farmers who were decent at what they did. But then here's the weird question for conservatives. Do people learn things? Or do they, because, you know, if people own things, I understand the concept of physically owning something. I can put my brain around that. Like, a person physically owns a house. A person physically owns a car. You know, I can wrap my head around that. But you're saying, are ideas ownable? Is that a conservative idea now? I mean, besides trademark is, you have like a 20-year thing. But, you know, as a creative person, you're going to mix and match ideas. You're going to look at stuff and go, I can take this from this and this from this and get, you know, something new. Which is back to the sprockets thing. The sprockets, you know, sprockets are made just like anything else in this world. The management takes the sprocket and breaks it down into pieces, and then there's the cost of labor per each piece of the sprocket. And you know all about sprockets, right? You know about sprockets. The made up product from a TV show from the 70s that they never even show. I don't think they ever show sprockets in the show. So, but he makes sprockets. Oh well, because there's no, you know, because you technically to be managed, you know, like to be managed is to, because if you could do something in like 4 hours, but your manager has to have you do it in 8 hours, they're gonna put like lead weights on your feet, aren't they? Isn't that what a manager will do, or will they not do that? So the manager doesn't care about making money; they only care about you doing 8 hours of work in 8 hours, not doing 8 hours of work in 4 hours. They don't like it when you're good at your shit. Which is why I don't like managers. You know, I'm a unique individual. I'm a snowflake. You know, I want to try and figure out a way to. If the manager says it's an 8 hour thing, I want to do it in 6. You know, you can't. Like, I already know you're going to get in trouble if you go and take a nap in the middle of the workday. You know, like, they're gonna get angry at you, you know, because you're stealing time from them. That's how they look at it. Like, it's, you know, if you went and took a 2-hour nap, they'd be like, you stole 2 hours from me, because it's property, right? Life is about property. Not to be all Lockean on you. Locke. It's about property, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. And then, you know, the I don't know, where's this going? Because ideally everything would be contract based, which if you look at this world, there's people say the United States is a capitalist society. It's not really a capitalist society. There's a lot of socialism in this thing. It's actually pretty socialistic. I mean, even on the right is pretty commie, from my opinion. And I don't mean that like there's a, I don't mean that from the position that, you know, that there's like the FDA, you know, the FDA, all those regulatory agencies. I mean it from the position of, if you go work somewhere, they don't write contracts out for you for your work. They talk to you like you're their property. which is a pretty leftist thing, because, you know, people being someone's property is, they should talk to you like you're a person hired to do a task, and they have to explain the task to you in a calm and rational sense. There's an irrationality to the people on the right in that sense, not the sense of in a perfect world, they would know the solution and you were just doing the menial work, but they want you to use your brain for them, and I object to that. I'm not here to use my brain for people. I'm here, my brain is my property. I'm only renting my body out. I'm a ghost. I rent my body out. I don't rent my brain out. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why I'm unhireable. I'm very unhireable, because once you realize I think my brain is my property, you might own my body. You can make me make whatever those things from the Jetsons were called, sprockets. But you will never own my soul. I'll cut my nose off before I give you my soul, Satan, says the insane person walking around. Coffee lady, probably in college. So naive looking. I should Ayn Rand her. You know, I can be the 25-year-old older than her. And yeah, Ayn Rand her. I could give her my wisdom, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It's a Monty Python joke. So you know them royalties, I guess. That sucks. You know, to be fair, if I was going to reverse this story, wouldn't that guy scream about how I was a reckless person who almost got someone hurt with a forklift? I did. He could have maybe broke his arm, or I don't think it was like life-threatening, but it would have been, there could have been a broken arm, maybe. So what's steel arm could give him a concussion. Concussion, that could have broken an arm. If you want to exaggerate, you can say anything. I could have killed him. I could have killed someone with that, you know. Now, to play devil's advocate, that kid was creating a flying monkey, and flying monkeys. See, here's a really scary question. You remember when Alex Jones was talking about like that pizza place was like secretly a thing or whatever? You know, you have nut jobs. There's always nut jobs in the world, and nut jobs want something to. They think they can impress the boss. So would that kid have been like one of them nut jobs who, you know, he was this flying monkey, and if you create a flying monkey, you have deniability about what the flying monkey does. You know, like, you know, the Reagan and Carter created the Mujahideen. They were the flying monkeys of the, well, that's Democrat and Republican. So they were, you know, useful idiots. He was the little twink kid was a useful idiot. It's good to have useful idiots. I need some useful idiots on my side. I have no use. That's what a friend is. A friend is a useful idiot. What's the difference between a friend and a useful idiot? I don't know. There you go. There's a good question. What's the difference between a friend and a useful idiot? You just got outplayed and you're angry about it. You got outplayed. You got outplayed. Yep, you got outplayed. So, live life and then you get Loves. Loves is a diaper brand. You don't want to buy the expensive diapers. You want to buy the Loves diapers. Because Loves diapers they're more reasonable diapers. So when I take a shit, I won't use the expensive diapers. I'll use Loves diapers. That's what Loves diapers are. That was their motto. Gotta find wisdom in commercials. No wisdom, no growth. No hugs, no growth. No hugs, no growth. No hugs, no. That's the motto of. You already talked about Cracked, and Cracked how it did the Ninja Turtles with the 4 humors. If you're smart, you learn about humors. But I was thinking of Seinfeld because they would sit at a diner. That's smart. Yeah, nothing I say is going to be that smart. I'm going to come up with something new. Diner. Humors. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a snake in the grass. How about that one? Nope. So my plan is just going to be to exploit my past memories for some sort of comedy, I guess. So I need to specialize in that. Specialize in that. I don't know, so I need to suffer more then, because then I'll get better jokes. Despite all my snakes, I'm still 24-hour video surveillance. It could be like hardwired into the human brain. So the human brain is like hardwired to. See, we were supposed to be like 200 people villages maybe. We were always supposed to like have like a communal. I have no communal. I have no filial piety. I have no communal piety. So I'm terrible societal wise. So I don't like the kids. I hate kids and I hate society. So the thing would be, as a human, you can do your job, but if you hate society, people can sort of tell, so they kind of root against you. Maybe that would be a theory. I gotta fake that I root for society, because I turn on the news and I'm like, I do my Nelson laugh. I just do a Nelson laugh. I turn on the news. I don't emotionally feel anything. You're supposed to feel something when you turn on the news and you hear bad news, and you're just like, antlers. That person still has antlers in their car. Yeah, I guess society should root against me, because I'm kind of a Nelson-esque figure now. I'm just going, I'm not actually. I have no investment in your thingy. So I'm a freeloader, and I'm freeloading off the greatness of society. Because society is where all the goodness of humans come from. And my thing is, I think I've got that Joker-esque thing where I think society is the facade, and I think you're secretly, like good old Putin. Putin was from Leningrad / St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is the northern city. It's the water port. In World War II, they were under siege for like 900 days, and there was cases of cannibalism in Leningrad. Like tourists. I think like 200 people got they actually had real cannibalism in the city. Like it wasn't, the people were starving that bad, and Putin's family was from there during World War II. Supposedly his mother got dumped on the street. They would do the, you ever see the Monty Python joke where it's like, bring out your dead, bring out your dead. Supposedly his mother got stuck on the street. And, bring out your dead. And supposedly they brought her back in because she was still alive. Because I don't know if the people were hungry and they wanted to eat people or, you gotta be careful around people. There's some cannibalism out there. And I'm a cannibal, and maybe I'm not, maybe I am. And, that's why Putin is who he is. People think he's evil, but he's from Leningrad. I mean, come on. If you were from Leningrad, wouldn't you be St. Petersburg? Sorry, not Leningrad. Stalingrad is now Petrograd, I think. Leningrad is St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, Leningrad. The thing was, it wasn't so much cannibalism. I think the people would have these vouchers for books, like coupon books for how much food you could get, because you could only get so much bread. I think a lot of people were stealing they were robbing each other of their books and stuff. So there were cases of people like digging up bodies. And society is against, if you killed someone to eat them, that's one thing. But if you're just eating a dead body out of the cemetery, that's, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is that? That's a good question. I'm really hungry. I just want to, I need to do anything for something to eat. So you go into the cemetery, dig up a body. I don't know. Now, then you get into that whole moral relativism thing. It starts off, you're just eating the bodies because you're hungry, but then you're killing people to eat their bodies, and that's when it gets bad. That's when society collapses. You're supposed to respect the dead, though, so you got to respect the dead. Maybe society collapses when you eat the dead. I don't know. I'm just asking. That's a Putin joke, I guess. Technically, you're stealing that because Norm Macdonald did a whole joke about the Andes, but I'm doing it based on Putin. Because Putin was from St. Petersburg, and people think Putin is evil, and I don't know what I think about Putin. Putin knows reality. That's a dirty thing to say. Like, Putin's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He's an evil guy, but he's smart. But he's from Leningrad. Like, when you're from Leningrad, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And Putin was from Leningrad, so he has to do what the Leningrads do, or what the people from Leningrad do. He has no choice but to eat the dead. He knows your the facade of your society. He knows it's a sham. I mean pro-Putin? Really? I'm pro-Putin? I'm not pro-Putin. I'm just making a joke about Putin. At his expense, or for him, or against him? I don't know. Is this a pro-Putin joke or an anti-Putin joke? His dad might have been working for the NKVD because he lived in an apartment complex. His dad had a phone, and the only people who had phones were the people in the NKVD. And it's a KGB, but NKVD it's cooler, I guess, just pre-KGB. Good old Putin. Beneath the veneer of society lies 8 billion cannibals. You're all cannibals secretly. No. Meh. I haven't done this joke. I don't think I've done this joke to you yet. I have a 30-minute Hitler joke. And the premise of the joke is, because back in the old days, people would accuse all the presidents of being Hitler. So my joke was going to be, I'll do the joke. Am I in the mood to do a Hitler joke, a 30-minute Hitler joke? I will do a 30-minute Hitler joke. So I want to do a 30-minute Hitler joke. Am I in the mood? Am I wined and dined enough to do a 30-minute Hitler joke? I'm wined and dined. Ready to put out my Hitler joke. Because I'm wined and dined. 2 or 3 years ago, there was the Emmys or the Academy Awards or the Stanley Cup, or there's some award ceremony, maybe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame awards, or might have been the Country Music Awards or the Rap Music Awards. There was some award ceremony. There was these two black fellas, and one of them slapped the other guy in the face. So there was this guy he was a comedian named Chris Rock, and he gets slapped in the face by this guy named Will Smith. And they're both African Americans, and these are colored. Their skin is the color of chocolate or something, and chocolate brown. I don't know. And I was thinking of there was this old lawyer show I watched called The Good Wife, and in The Good Wife, this person, there's probably a murder or a crime, and the eyewitness is the criminal. The supposed criminal is an African American, and the lawyer gets him off by saying this person has racial face blindness. So if you had to for example, if a person had racial face blindness, Will Smith, and you could mix up any, I can't tell the difference between Will Smith and Barack Obama and Samuel L. Jackson and Shaquille O'Neal, and all black people would look the same to me if I had that racism. And I don't have that. I know the difference between Will Smith and I don't think I have it. I probably have it, but I don't have it that bad if I do have it. And I do have. There's a person walking up, so I gotta calm my joke down. Let's see, the facial blindness that I do have is I do have facial blindness, but I don't have I don't get a 3 foot. There's 3 foot Kevin Hart and there's 12 foot Shaquille O'Neal. I don't get those two people mixed up. I don't get I don't get Will Smith mixed up with Frederick Douglass, or what's the oldest historical black figure I can think of? Would it be Frederick Douglass? Is there someone before that? There was a guy who got killed in the Boston Massacre. There was a black fella in that. If I knew his name, I could purposefully mix him up with Will Smith. For this joke, I could purposefully mix him up. He's got a name. I don't remember it, but one of the first people to be shot in the Boston Massacre, I think it was an African fella. And if I had racial face blindness, I could get those people mixed up, but I don't. So, I'm not a racist. In that sense, I'm not a racist. I am a racist, but I'm not a racist like that. And but I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't have racial face blindness. I do have face blindness. I have face blindness in the sense that there's 7 or 8 billion people in this world. Whenever I look at any of your faces, you all kind of look the same. You all kind of look like, what was that guy's name? Holy shit. I always forget that guy's name. What's that fucker's name? You all look like, what was his name? You all look like that guy with the mustache, that Adolf Hitler fella. You all have his face. You all kind of look like good old Adolf to me. Like last November is January, probably 28th, 29th, 30th. It's a Wednesday at the end of 2025. Back in November, that one guy got elected president, that Donald Hitler, he got elected president. He just got inaugurated. And before that, there was Joe Hitler. And I think it was Donald Hitler. And before that, there was Barbarossa Hitler. He was like that black Muslim Hitler. And then before that, there was who was before that? George W. Hitler. His name was George W. Hitler. He was the son of another president. And before that, there was he beat Al Hitler in 2000. Al Hitler. He invented the internet. And before that, he was the vice president of Bill Hitler. And then he was president for 8 years. He was famous for being president for those 8 years. And before that, there was the father of the previous Hitler I was talking about, George W. something Hitler. The first, I guess. Is he like a king? Do you call him the first? And then the first and the second? The first and the second Hitler. And then before that, there was Dutch Hitler. Ronald Hitler. And then before that, there's Jimmy Hitler. Jimmy Hitler. He just died like in the past month. Jimmy Hitler died. Poor old Jimmy Hitler. Before that, there was Gerald Hitler? Was it Gerald Hitler? And he replaced Richard Hitler. Richard Hitler he was forced to leave because they called him a crook. And before that, there was Lyndon Baines Hitler. He was involved in KBR. He made money off of like Vietnam by doing KBR shit. Smart guy. Smart Hitler. Good old Lyndon Baines Hitler. And before that, there was a guy who got his head blown off. John Fitzgerald Hitler. And before that, there was I like Ike Hitler. Oh, that John Fitzgerald Hitler, he beat Richard Hitler on TV. That was a really big deal because that one Hitler ran in 60, but he also ran later and he won. There was Ike Hitler. He was a general in World War II. He was an American general. He did Overlord, which was the invasion of France. And he was a bureaucratic general. He was no Erwin Hitler. He was no, I don't know Patton Hitler's first name, but Ike Hitler was not a on the front lines general. He was more of a, where Patton Hitler was more of a on the front lines, or Erwin Hitler was more of a on the front lines general. He's a bureaucratic general. Before that, there was Truman Hitler? Whatever Truman's first name is. You understand the premise of this joke, right? The premise of the joke is I take the first name and then I just add, the last name is now Hitler. But you people haven't figured that joke out yet, so I'll keep milking this. What was Truman's first name? Truman Capote. Truman Show. Before that, there was the 4-time reigning champion of presidents, Franklin Delano Hitler. Because he was president for 4 terms. He died. He got elected in 44 for the last time. Probably November of 44. Then he died in like April of 45. So he was only president for the 4th term for like 5 months probably. Do I want to go this way? Can I go this way? Can I go this way? I don't think I can go that way. So Franklin Delano Hitler. And he was famous because he was he would have been president for like 4 times 4 would be 16, but he only did it for like 15, I guess. 16, like 16 years, I guess. No, 3 times 4 is 12. So he was like president for like 13 years. So he was pretty important. He was famous because he fought a guy from Germany called Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was an interesting character because he wasn't even German. He was like from Bohemia, wherever the fuck that is. He was kind of a weeboo. Is weeboo's the pro-German one, right? What's the one where you're like a pro-Japanese? I forgot the term. There's a term for when you over-glorify samurai. There's a term for that, and but he was a weeboo. He was a weeboo before World War II, because he was You know, he was born, he died in like 45, April 20th, or 40, I don't know if it was April 20th, but I think he was like 50, 60. I think he was born in like 1890-ish, in that decade. Because he was like, because he's from Bohemia, and he wanted to join the, his father was a bureaucrat. So like a bureaucrat would be like a DMV worker. And no one likes DMV workers. Trump wants to get rid of all the DMV workers. I mean Donald Hitler wants to get rid of all the DMV workers. And he was like a bureaucrat. His mother was doting. You know, if I was ever president, I'd outlaw doting. I don't think doting should be legal. All doting, I'd outlaw doting. You know, that'd be my first executive order. If I was ever in a leadership position, I'd outlaw no more doting. And so it's like World War I happened in like 1915, right? And he would have been like 20-ish. So he goes and he has to get permission from like a Bohemian prince or something to go join the German army, because he wants permission, I guess. Oh, his dad died and he got a stipend, I think, and he would walk around, he'd make paintings. His mother was doting, and she was like, "You're a good painter," but he wasn't actually that good of a painter. So he kind of got lied to. Poor Hitler. The only Führer I know of, you know, when you think of Führers, you think of like silver spoon in your mouth. But this Führer, he was like homeless he was like staying at the YMCA, trying to sell paintings on the street. Poor old Hitler. And he wanted to join the World War I German army, I guess. Poor Hitler. And you know, he was like a runner, because back in those days they didn't have cell phones or the internet. So they'd run, you know, the officers would have letters, and they'd give the letters to people, and they'd run the letters to the people in the trenches. And so he was a runner. I don't think he was like a man's man soldier, but he got some awards, I guess. It's good for him, you know. He got gassed, I think. Because gas was a big deal. People would fart a lot in World War I. Dropping mustard gas, you know. You ever eaten something with a lot of mustard in it? That'll give you some bad gas. And then they had some other gases, probably. And so he gets out of World War I. Oh, you know, and the really crazy thing about World War I is in the East, the Germans did really well in the East. They had like this small army, and it would beat the crap out of the Russian army. The Russian army was terrible in World War I. It was headed by a czar. A czar is like a king. He's a Caesar, I guess. All those kings in Europe were like interrelated by blood, I think. I think the Kaiser of Germany was related to the Queen of England or something. You know, if you want to look for conspiracy theory, there's a conspiracy theory there. All the people at the top are connected together, I guess. I don't know. I think he had a messed up arm. Did he have a messed up arm or something? I think he had a messed up arm. Good old Kaiser. The Kaiser, you know, kings are all friends with each other. A lot of people don't know this, you know, but he was such a nice guy. He got this fancy fellow called Vladimir Lenin, and he put him in a train and he sent him into Russia. And you know, in the middle of the war, the Russians had some king trouble. They had some. It's not called a Kaiser in Russia. They call it a czar, but it's the same thing. It's a Kaiser, or a king, but they call him something different in Russia. So he puts that Vladimir Lenin Hitler in a train and sends him to Russia. And you know, the Russians fight like shit in World War One, and they surrender. I think Trotsky Hitler signed the peace treaty, right? Was it him? And because they wanted to get the Russians, they had some guy named, I don't remember that. Whatever, the Russians fought like shit in World War One. That was the moral of the story. And then and then all the German troops are like, yeah, we can go all to the west, and they think they're gonna win, and they lose. I don't know why, but they lost. The Kaiserschlag, something called the Kaiserschlag. I heard that term one time. I watched this whole YouTube video set on World War One, and I swear to God, I can't remember anything from World War One, but like a very general, broad strokes of it. I spent many hours listening to that, and I can only remember like Kaiserschlag, and the Russians fought like shit. Huh. Oh, okay. Oh, back to that one fella. The war ended. He was a runner. He got gassed, and he was like, "How come we lost the war?" And there's the stab in the back theory, which is where people stab people in the back. You ever been stabbed in the back? I don't know. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And that relates to the ADL. The ADL does not like the stab in the back theory. And let's see. So then he works for the German army. You're not allowed to have an army after you lose. They like you to be. You ever lost a fight? And you have to you're not allowed to go to the gym anymore. You have to. After you lose an MMA fight, that one fella, not Joe Rogan, who's the owner of MMA? What's his fucking name? He outlaws you from going to the gym after you. So the German army can't go to the gym anymore. They're only allowed to go to the gym for like 100K. Okay, so that joke does not work. They were only allowed to have 100K people in their army. And Hitler became a spy. He'd spy on political people. And he went and found this political party. He was told to spy on him. But he was so charismatic, I guess he took it over. He was like kudzu, I'm from the South. We have this Japanese weed called kudzu. So he was like kudzu. He took over the party. And took over the party. Oh, yeah, the good story. The good story. I'll say that joke till the end. But then what happened? What happened after that? I'm trying to remember. And then he took over that party. It's a party. It was like a communist party, but it was a Nazi party. The Nazi party. The Communist Party. Everybody likes a party. Everybody likes to go to a party, Who doesn't want to go to a party? You got cake and ice cream probably, and you probably have beer. Maybe you have beer at a party. Beer putsch. He had a beer putsch, right? Because they like to drink beer at parties. And I think he failed, and he got sent to prison. He was like that Martin Luther Hitler from Birmingham. He wrote a book while he was in jail. It wasn't called Letters from Berlin. It was called Mein Kampf. Oh well, and what was it? I don't know. What else happened? Oh, there was this fancy fellow called. He was like an Air Force guy, and he hung out with this ace pilot. He got shot in the leg, and then he became fat after that because he got shot in the leg. Because if you get shot in the leg, you can't walk around. Like if I couldn't walk around, I get fat. So poor fat guy. He hung out with that guy from. You remember that comic, the Snoopy comic? It was that red airplane in World War One. That one fat guy. He hung out with that ace pilot fella. What's his name? Oh well, that's pretty cool. Imagine getting to hang out with the ace pilot guy from World War One that Snoopy hung out with. That'd be kind of cool. And then, he does his letters from a Berlin jail. That's so distasteful. You're taking. I'm gonna do the distasteful jokes are the most fun. So he does that, and then I don't remember the rest of the story. It's 32. I think it's 32 or 33. Some people are like, they try and turn him into a useful idiot. And a useful idiot is when someone thinks they can use you as a pawn, but he outplays them. He's like, Putin was like that, right? Like, wasn't Putin? The oligarchs wanted to use him, but he used them. Good old Putin. I mean, Hitler. It was Vladimir. No, what was his name? What is Putin's first name? I don't even know Putin's first name. Holy shit. This joke is coming off its rails. The joke is coming off the rails. So, so the oligarchs of Germany, they have inflation. Inflation is where you get fat. No, you don't get fat. Your money becomes worthless. So it costs like $1 billion trillion to get a wheelbarrow to hold the it would cost like $100 billion trillion to buy a wheelbarrow to hold $100 billion trillion. And that's not good. No one likes inflation. I don't want to get all... What is that? Who is that guy that one guy was talking about? Holy shit, I should know his name. You know, one of those inflation economists. Oh well, so he's all smarty tardy, and he becomes the chancellor guy. I don't know, the chancellor guy maybe. The chancellor guy. So he's he's just like that Franklin Delano fella. He gives the people busy work. You know, he gives them autobahns to create, and he does. What else does he do? He does autobahns, and he builds parks. He builds probably like a park system. I don't know. Probably does something. He's just like Franklin Delano, I guess. Delano Hitler. They're all the same. Remember, the Kaiser and the Queen were genetically related, right? They're all the people at the top are fucking. The Kaiser and the Romanovs and the... Was the Romanov? Oh well. 32. And then he starts doing MIFO bills. You know what MIFO bills are. You've all played Hoi 4. You know what the MIFO bills are. MIFO bills are a way of making your army bigger while cheating the Versailles Treaty. Very important to cheat the Versailles Treaty. That unfair Versailles Treaty. Ooh, that's his Antichrist. That's his Yakub. Hitler's Yakub was the Versailles Treaty. His Yakub was the ADL, right? His Yakub was the ADL. So he does the MIFO bills, and he does rearmament, and he takes Austria. Pretty easy. It's pretty easy to do in Hoi 4. You just have to do a focus. And that's pretty cool. Getting Austria for free. You have to have so many troops. I think you have to have so many troops to get Austria. So you have to get them MIFO bills, build them rifles, then you get that Austria. And then he did Czechoslovakia. He did the Anschluss, which is, he took like half of Czechoslovakia, but it was where all the forts were. So once he took the forts, he took the whole thing, I guess. And then that's where you get the term appeasement. Never appease anybody. Always never appease anything or anybody. Or do, I don't know, maybe you should appease people. Or don't appease people. I have no clue when you should appease people or not appease people. It's a good question. When should you appease people and when should you not appease people? So that's important, right? And then there's the Danzig corridor. The Danzig corridor was like a, I don't know, is there an analogy of this? Where's a Danzig corridor analogy? There's a piece of Germany that was disconnected from Germany, and he wanted a way to get into there. So he wanted a piece of Poland. I guess. And then the Polish were like, oh, no, no, no. And I guess that's why World War II started, right? Because World War II started in like 39. Because they thought that, they gave him the Danzig quarter. He'd just keep asking for more land. He was just going to keep grabbing more land. You don't want people who grab more land. You want people who are happy with the land they have. You ever work somewhere and you wanted more money? Don't be a Hitler. Don't go asking for a pay raise. Don't be a Hitler. Don't be trying to oh, that's a weird analogy. That's a terrible analogy because he was taking land, right? That's not the same thing. Or maybe it is. So that was 39. If you ignore Asia started like 36, 37, 38, 37. China and Japan. Japan did this. I'm not going to do any Japan jokes. Do I know any Japan jokes? I'm just going to ignore Japan for this joke. The far eastern front does not matter for this joke. But it existed in real life. There was a Nazi fella in the Nanking. Was it Nanking? He was like a German Nazi general, and he would hide the Chinese ladies because the Japanese fellas wanted to give them their bayonet. If you know anything about the bayoneting of Nanking or Beijing or whatever, they're all the same city, right? It's all the same Chinese city. It's a funny story because after World War II, all the Nazis were bad, but there was some Nazi general hiding the Chinese ladies from the sorting those Japanese fellas would give them. It's a euphemism, by the way. Euphemisms are my superpower. I will be the world's greatest euphemism creator. So 39, and World War II. Poland. I think Poland lasted like 6, 8, 10 weeks. I don't know how long Poland lasted. They went by pretty fast. 6 weeks maybe. I'm making a number up here. I'm a narcissist. I don't know numbers. I have general, broad picture analysis abilities. No in the weeds. I can grab a checkboard, but I can't keep up with the individual things. I can only grab a checkboard and do checks. So 39. I think they invade some northern countries, but that's not that interesting. No one wants to talk about Denmark. Denmark is boring. I think that war lasts like 6 hours. And then they surrender. They're boring. Boring. You're boring, Denmark. And just like in World War I, they try and sickle their way through you all know what the Benelux is, right? The Benelux is those 3 weird countries in Europe. Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium. And they sickle through there, and in World War I, the French lasted 3, 4 years, 5 years. I don't remember how long was World War I. 4 years, 5 years. They lasted a long time. They went. If it was an MMA analogy, it would go 8, 9 rounds or whatever rounds, or boxing rounds, or it went a long time, But the French this time, they went 6 weeks, I think. 6 weeks. Poor old French. Poor French. So then they have a Vichy government. You don't want to have Vichy governments. And they get a Vichy government, and Hitler looks really smart, because think about this, the Kaiser, who's like a king, couldn't take France in 4 or 5 years. But this doofus, this corporal from Bohemia, this doofus of a corporal, he can take France out in 6 weeks. So they all raise him on their shoulders, and they're like, he's a jolly good corporal. He wasn't even an officer, he was just a corporal. It's kind of crazy. Oh well. So that's the French, and then Hitler's like Kutsu. He's a shark. He always needs something to eat. He's hungry. He's always hungry. He's a hungry, hungry hippo. He's got to find something to eat. So he likes lions. So he wants to go invade the sea lions. And the sea lions are this country that's across the French Channel. And they have a big navy because they have a lot of sea lions because they have a lot of ships. So they don't get invaded. They don't get sea lioned. And what else happens? Oh, well, good old Hitler, he's still hungry. You know, because he's always hungry. He's a hungry hippo. He's a carnivore. He's a cheetah. He's a lion, a tiger, a bear. Oh my. Is that a Wizard of Oz? Whiskey bottle, 2 whiskey bottles. Jack Daniel's whiskey bottles on the ground. 2 whiskey bottles on the ground. So he's hungry. He's still hungry. He was thinking, hey, remember in World War I when the Russians were dog shit at fighting? Oh, I'm gonna go east. I'm gonna get me some. He liked this idea called Lebensstrasse, which is a big fancy way of saying, I don't know, what is Lebensstrasse? Free land? It's kind of like, he liked Westerns. He liked the American West. He liked Western American books. Because, you know, you can always take the land from the Indians. So I guess he kind of saw the Slavs as Indians. He was very racist, very mean fellow. You know, don't go being mean to the Indians. The Indians are people too. And, what else? Yeah, and then the Russians fought like dog shit in World War I. Remember, the Tsar sent that fancy fella in the train, and that was cool. And they had this new guy. He was made out of steel. His name was the Man of Steel. He was like Superman, but Russian. Koba Hitler, Joseph Hitler. You know, he even killed that one fella, that Trotsky Hitler. He killed that Trotsky Hitler in Mexico. I wonder if that happened. I wonder what year that happened. What year did Trotsky Hitler die? I need to go look that up. He died in Mexico City with an ice pick to his head. What a nice fella. Huh. So then it's, France fell in, 40? So it's the middle of 41. He can't get his sea line going. You know, he wants a pool party, and he can't throw his pool party, so he goes east. Middle of 41. And he's a romantic, this old Hitler. He's a romantic. He's like this old house with Bob Hitler. And this old house, romantic. He's gonna kick the door down, and the whole house is gonna fall down. Because remember, the house was built badly. Old poor Hitler. Middle of 41. He names it after a famous fellow from the past. He's up in the Berghof, up in the mountains. You ever been to? I'm from Alabama. We got the what are those mountains in Tennessee called? The Gatlinburg Mountains. The Berghof is up in the mountains of, I don't know, where's the Berghof? Austria? The Alps? Is it the Alps? Probably the Alps. Very nice view. You know, it would be nice. I wouldn't mind living there. You know, imagine being up there and you're like, you can make these cool operation names like Barbarossa. It's got a cool name. That's a cool name. You're up in the mountains. You got a map. You got a big risk map. And you're like, I'm going to roll some dice, baby. We're going to go east. So middle of 41. They invade Barbarossa. You could look up the date. I'm being rough with my dates here because, you know, it might be earlier or later than the middle. But if there's a date, you could look it up. I'm going to say middle. You know, because you can divide a year up into early, middle, and late. It's a sky hook to use to take dates and hook them to. So, what other dates do I know? Oh, in World War II was the big thing in World War II was these things called kessels. Now, kessel is kind of like a black pot, you know, like you ever called a pot black, or you ever called the kessel black. Don't go calling the kessel black. Don't go calling the pot black or the Kessel black. You want to create Kessels, and a Kessel is an encirclement. It's where you oh, you remember yesterday when I was telling you those MMA moves? Here, let me pull that out here. You got a Goga Plata and an Omoplata and a Kimura. I have no clue what any of those three are, but that's kind of like what a Kessel is. A Kessel is like an Omoplata. It's a move you do where you hurt a person by breaking their arm or their shoulder or their knee or something. You surround them. You break their ankle. So that's the fantasy of World War II. It's an MMA. It's a big MMA fight. It's a, so in the first year of the Barbarossa, they get these beautiful Kessels, these beautiful, if you're a general and you were like a baseball card, you'd want to have on your baseball card how many Kessels you had and how many people were in your Kessel. If you were gonna do sabermetrics on general stats, you were buying generals, you'd want some generals with some good Kessel numbers. The more Kessels and the better your Kessels. You want some good Kessels. You want some million-man Kessels, So the first year he gets some million-man Kessels. He gets, 3-4 million-man Kessels. Good for them, he's all high on life. High on life, I've got me some Kessels. I'm gonna knock the door down and the whole rotten thing's gonna fall, Once you kick the door in, the whole rotten thing's gonna fall, And they get to Moscow, and it's December. I saw this movie called Conspiracy. It's about the Wanese Conference. You all know what the Wanese Conference is. Everybody knows what that is. It's where they conspiracize. It's a conspiracy theory. The ADL does not like the Wanese Conference. Let's say it like that. The ADL is the Jewish ones, right? I think that's right. ADL. Anti-Semitic Defense League? Probably. The ADL does not like the Wanese Conference, and that happens around Christmas. And the Christmas time, they get like 50 miles from Moscow. They think they're almost in there. They've almost kicked that door down, They're like cops. They're trying to knock the door down to get to the drug dealers. That analogy does not work. They're almost there. They're at the 1 yard line. They're 4th and 1. 4th and 1? Football analogy? 4th and 1? I don't watch that much football, so 4th and 1. 4th and 1. December of 41. December of 41. 4th and 1. That could work, right? That's a good way of putting it, right? 50 miles from Moscow. 4th and 1. So then old Koba, old steel man. He was a steel man. He was involved in making steel. Made a lot of steel. He throws some stuff at him, and they don't get Moscow. The thing didn't collapse. Poor old Hitler. His hopes are thrown. Poor guy. That American guy, that Franklin Delano Hitler, before he was president, I think he was like a Navy guy. And before World War II, back in World War I, maybe before World War I, they used to run their ships on coal. Coal was like the old way. It was the old paradigm. The new paradigm was this black stuff from the ground called black oil, black gold, black oil. That one guy from the 90s in America, he made some money in the black gold out in Texas, didn't he? And then I think the British guy, the Winston Hitler, he was involved in the Navy too. I think he got their ships to run on the black gold, not the black char dust, not the coal, but the oil. The oil was the new way. And FDR did the same thing. He was involved in, I think, getting the American Navy to work on oil, because it was a new vogue. It was in vogue to use oil. You know, when you think of World War II, you think of tanks and airplanes, and maybe you think of the A-bomb, but that's later. Maybe you think of V2s. That's later. That's 2-3 years from now. But tanks and planes, both were in on oil. The black gold of the day. And in Europe, there's very little black gold in Europe. There's some in Romania. Not enough. You know, you couldn't run Also, the people like to drive I don't think they had Model Ts, but they probably had whatever the European Model T was. I don't know what those were called. The Model Es? They probably called them Model Es for Europe. Probably not. They probably had their own companies. Probably like Fiat or, I don't know, Mercedes-Benz or, I don't know. Bentley? Was it Bentley? So, you know, oil. Oil, very important thing. Everybody likes oil. I like oil. You like oil. Most people like oil. So they're running out of oil. Oh, I forgot to tell you. You know, I've told you people about the power of pyramids and the power of Pareto pyramids. 90% of the German army they would get on a train which was powered by coal. And then they get off the train and they'd walk around like dunces, you know, because dunces walk around. They don't have the power of black gold. The top 10% get to use the black gold. The bottom 90% have to use the old way, the coal, the train, the foot power, the horsepower, literal horsepower. And but the top 10% get to use the black gold. So they're running out of black gold. So Hitler has to lose his idealism, because he was all idealistic. He was naming his shit after Barbarossa, some king from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So he has to get all serious. You know, you ever fucked up at something and then you have to, I'm just going to go this other way because there's too much traffic. You ever fucked up at something, so you have to like solidify your thoughts. You have to stop being so romantic, you know. You stop naming your operations Barbarossa, you start naming them like Operation 1 or Operation Black or Red or Purple. So I think he has a Operation Blue or something, Code Blue. Or he's like, hey, we're going to go to the Caucasus. The Caucasus. You know, because that sounds like cock, and I'm a comedian, and cocks are funny. So I'll overemphasize the cock of Caucasus. And I remember when I was young, they'd always talk about the Battle of Stalingrad, and they'd make it sound like it was just this big battle about two people, you know, because it was, Stalingrad was named after, it was Hitlergrad, sorry, it was called Hitlergrad, because it was named after that guy from Russia named Hitler. Stalingrad, it was named Stalingrad, but it's, you know, because it was an ego contest. It was a battle of wills between Hitler and Stalin. But what they don't tell you is it was a river, and like south of those Caucasus, like half of the oil of Russia came from the Caucasus. The Caucasus. The cock of Russia had a lot of oil in it. You know, because oil, like I was telling you, you know, you have that pyramid power. You know, the 80% were running, they would get on a train, and then they'd get off the train and walk to the front. And then the cool kids would ride in a truck, or they'd ride in a Panzer. Panzer's like a tank, I guess. It's just a fancy way of saying tank in German. That's so dumb. Panzer is a fancy way of saying tank in German. That's got to be the dumber one there. That's a good one. So they like to name their tanks after their Panzers after cats. They like cats a lot. You know, they had some cat tanks. I think Lenin from Russia, he was a cat guy, right? I wonder if Hitler was a cat guy. Did he collect cats? Maybe. Probably not. Probably didn't have any cats. He had a dog. German Shepherd, I think. Named after Marilyn Monroe, right? Blondie or something? I don't know. That's someone else's joke. I should stay away. Yeah, I'll stay away from that joke. Let's see. Cute dog. You gotta like dogs. And what else was there? There was. Oh, so they the Germans are in the second year of the war. You know, what's the first? It was only like half a year in 41. And then they don't lose at the end of 41, but they get stalled. They almost lose. They kind of lose. They're losing a little bit. They didn't knock the building down. And you know, the Russians have more teeth than they thought they were going to have, because remember the French fell in like 6 weeks, and remember they were getting all those beautiful, you know, Kessels, those beautiful black Kessels. The beautiful, you know, don't call the Kessel black. Don't go calling a Kessel black or a pot black, or, you know. So now they're in the middle. Now they're in 42. And they're like, oh yeah. So I guess we'll get all serious. We'll do a case blue. We'll go to the Caucasus, and we'll get these Kessels. We're going to do the Kessels again, because they think the Kessel trick will work. We'll get some more Kessels, and we'll... You know, I'm trying to think of, how do you explain World War II? So the 80% of people, the people who walk around, they're like the skin of your body. But the 20% of people who are running around in tanks and oiled vehicles, they're like a knife. You know, they can cut through the skin very well. But the regular old dopes, the regular old coal people, the 80%, I don't want to talk too poorly of the 80% of people in the pyramid. You know, you don't want to make fun of them too much. But, you know, they're like the skin. And they'll get encircled and cut off. They'll get omoplotted. They'll get omoplotted, whatever that is. So they're going to go into the Caucasus, and the Russians, they're getting smarter, which is really not good. You don't want your enemy to get smarter. You want your enemy to be stupid. That's one of the morals of life is, hope your enemy is stupid. The stupider your enemy is, the better a day you're going to have. I'll tell you that right now. That's a moral. The stupider you can make your enemy, the better your life will be. So they go into the Caucasus, and they can't get their Kessels anymore. The Russians are getting all wise to them Kessel tricks. That trick of Kesseling people, it don't work no more. The skin holds. The skin does not break. You know, they can't break through the skin. The Russians pull back, and they can't get their Kessels, and then they make it to Stalingrad, I guess, which is on the Volga River. It's a river. You know what a river is, right? A river's like a body of water that has water in it. Royal Suds Laundromat. Let's see. So, what happens? The Russians are getting all smart now. The Russians are like, hey, we didn't like getting Kesseled. We didn't like getting omoplotted. So the Russians get all smart, and they think, we're going to do our own Kessel. And they do an ass joke. They do this joke about how they do a joke called the Uranus joke, because they want to do a joke about asses, because, you know, Uranus is like it's a fun way of saying ass. So they want to create a Kessel in the Caucasus. Kessel in the Caucasus. And they try and do it. They don't get the whole thing. They get half of it. They get half of an ogoplata. You know, because there's a full MMA ogoplata, and then there's like the half. You can half do it. It still hurts, but they don't get the whole thing. They only get half of it. They wanted to get the whole leg, but I think they only got like half the leg or something like that. So, and that's where you get the famous Battle of Stalingrad, where 200, 300, 400,000 Germans get killed and captured. Poor Germans, you know. They think that it's fun to kessel people. It's not fun to be kesseled. That's kind of the moral of Stalingrad, I guess, or don't get surrounded, don't get outplayed, maybe. You know, it's Christmas. It's Christmas in Stalingrad. You know, it's a beautiful Christmas. They have Christmas trees, and they're starving to death probably, and it's snowy and cold. Christmas and blessing box. You want some free books, and then you have to take a blessing, so don't want us to take that. So, Christmas in Stalingrad. You know, they have little Christmas trees, and that fat guy, that Goering fella, you know, he's trying to drop supplies in, you know, by his airplanes. He's the airplane fella. He's the guy who hung out with the Red Baron. I think the Red Baron's a cool guy. He was in Snoopy, you know, flew a red plane. So, Christmas in Stalingrad. So that would be 42. The end of 42. I think they surrender in January of 43. But anyone with an IQ above like a 110 or 120 knows. There was this famous fella called, it was either Manstein or Guderian. They try and unkessel the kessel, or they try and break into the kessel. You know, because when you're kesseled, you can't get more food. You run out of food, you run out of ammunition, you run out of... It's like a siege. You've seen like a castle movie? You ever seen a castle movie where they surround the castle? That's kind of like what a kessel is, I guess. You know, and they probably had trebuchets. But, you know, in today's age, we call trebuchets artillery, probably. And then they have a bunch of bomb buildings, and there was this famous American gun, you know, because you have the rifles of World War II are very similar to the rifles of World War I. They shoot a big old 308-ish gun, you know, a rifle round. Your dad's 308 rifle round. But then this American guy named Tommy built a gun called Tommy's gun, and it shoots like 9mm Tommy bullets, which are like 9mm. They're little baby bullets. They're more babyish, but they're good in cities. So, Tommy's gun, and I think the Russians have a Tommy's gun called a something like that. That's a pretty cool gun. And then I think the Germans have a MP38 or MP40. It's kind of like a Tommy's gun. Tommy's got a gun. So, January of 43, January 43, the Stalingradis surrender. They're all starving, and they're not very happy. So, you know, there's a guy named Paulus, I guess. He liked to hang out in department stores, I think. Nah, I think it was another place. And where's this going? I don't remember. What was this story about? World War II. The story's about World War II. And then, so it's 43. There's this famous guy, and he goes, "It's time for total war, total Krieg," or what was his name? He was a Goebbels fella, right? He does a famous speech. You're in a war, and then you start getting kesseled, and you're like, oh shit, we were kesseling people, and now they're kesseling us. You know, we had a pot that was black, and now they're calling our pot black, and he's trying to make an analogy between calling a pot, you know, don't call a pot black and kessels. Is that the connection joke you're going for here? I think that's the joke you're going for, right? Like you're saying, don't call a pot black. A pot can't call it. Whatever. This is just made up bullshit anyway. Anyone with half a brain knows World War II never actually happened. You know that, right? That's let's see, what? So 43. They're not happy about their kessel in Stalingrad. So there's this big bulge this big bulge in the Kursk area. And, I was telling you about kessels. You want to cut the bulges off. You want to kessel the bulges. And they try and make a kessel in Kursk in the middle of 43. And I think that failed. It happened around July 4th, because I'm an American, and I know the date July 4th. I know 1492. I know 1776. I know 1860, 61, 60, 61. I think the Civil War starts in the beginning of 61, but 60 is when he gets elected. I think the war begins at 61. 1776, I know that because I'm an American. What else do I know? I know 1492. I know what year I was born. I know like 4 or 5 years after that, the Cold War ended. I know 45 is the end of World War II. And then I know 1915 or 14 was World War I. Was it 17, the end? I don't know, maybe 17, 18, 16, somewhere in there. I got some rough numbers in my head. I got some pretty smart, I got some numbers in my head, man. You gotta have numbers in your head if you want to be ahead of the curve. Ahead of the curve. So, July 4th, 43, Battle of Kursk. And that fails. So it doesn't fail. It could have maybe succeeded, but there's good news for the Allies. They invade Italy. And the cool thing about Italy is very mountainy. So you don't have to use as many of your oil troops. You don't have to use you can just throw infantry in there. It's all mountainy, I guess. That's good. Because the top 10% are good in the open. The Iowas, the Nebraskas. You want to use your tanks and trucks in flat terrain, not in mountains. A tank in a mountain is not very useful. I saw this thing in the 80s. The Russians would do these convoys through the passes, the Afghan passes, and the tanks aren't very useful in those passes. So the good old Mujahideen would just shoot up the tanks from the top of the mountains. Because tanks aren't as good in mountains as they are in Nebraska or flat area. So Italy gets invaded during the Battle of Kursk. I think it happens during the Battle of Kursk, maybe, possibly, theoretically, hypothetically, historicalography. Nope, that's not a word. So, Hitler's like, I got two fronts now. You don't want fronts. Fronts are like weather. You know how you don't like fronts? You ever hear about like weather fronts? Weather fronts are not good. You want like one front maybe. You can maybe handle one front. You can't handle two fronts. So 43. I don't remember what happens the rest of 43. There's other shit probably, but I forgot. That's the only thing I remember in 43 is Italy and Kursk. If there's something else, why don't you go make your own YouTube video and talk about it? Because I'm only talking about what I know about and or what I remember. So 44. After 43 comes 44, and 44 is I'm an American. We all know what happens in 44. The war mostly ends in 44 because of the most famous of all battles ever, the Battle of Normandy, which is that was in the middle of 44, right? Like that was the middle of 44. There's Normandy. That's where there was this overlord guy, and he landed a bunch of people in Normandy because it was that Ike Hitler. Ike Hitler was the head of that. He called it overlord, and he sat in a desk. I don't think he was on the waves. I don't even know if he was on a ship. I wonder if he sat on a desk in Britain, or if he was on one of the ships. He was a bureaucratic general. He was no. I already made that joke. There was that Patton Hitler. Patton Hitler was this American general. There's a movie about him. It's pretty cool. It's called Hitler. There's a famous scene where Hitler stands in front of the American flag and he talks about America loves a winner. I really need to know Patton's first name. That makes this joke funnier. Because if I just call Patton Hitler, it'd be funnier if I knew his first name for this joke. But oh well. Patton Hitler stands in front of the American flag in this movie, and he talks about how, he was in Italy. And he fought, and he slapped some soldiers, I guess. He wasn't very nice. He wasn't a nice general. He was kind of a jerk. He was he would make his own uniforms. He was very much like that Goering fella. He liked to make his own. There's a little bit of a diva in there, like anybody who makes their own uniform to spruce it up. A little bit on the dandy side for my taste. But hey, everybody's to each their own. He'd probably take me in a fight, so I shouldn't make fun of him. If you rejuvenated him to life, he'd probably take me in a fight, so I should probably not make fun of him. Even if he was a dandy, even if he was a bit of he had, Colts with like pearl grips or something. Made his own uniform. Kind of a bit of a, Shouldn't make fun of him. Okay, 44 Normandy. And, Overlord. The war doesn't end, but it's mostly over now. Anyone with half a brain's like, oh shit, we got 3 fronts now. I was telling you about there were 2 fronts. Now there are 3 fronts, so a lot of weather's coming into Germany. You don't want to have a lot of weather. You want to have 1 front, not 3 fronts. So that's not good. That guy, that one fella, the desert fox, that Erwin Hitler. He was head of France, and he built a bunch of pillboxes, I guess you call them, because a lot of people like to take pills back in World War II, so they built pillboxes. It's a place where you get all the pills you wanted, so they call them pillboxes, and built big pieces of artillery on the beach. Life's a beach. Life's a beach. That was his motto. He had a big, in his office, he had a big poster that said, Erwin Hitler, life's a beach. Not that funny. Let's see, what else? So 44 happens, and they get on the beach. They get on the beach, and the Americans have like catastrophic losses in D-Day. I don't know what, 10, 20,000. It's like half a day on the Eastern Front, but a lot of losses for Americans. During World War II, what was it? 20 million, 10, I don't know, 8 million, 20 million, I don't know. A lot of Russians died. I think 500,000 Americans died. It's a regular Wednesday on the Eastern Front, but for the Americans, it's a big deal, I guess. Good old Koba. He was angry the whole war. He was like, he wanted more weather fronts the whole war, because he was a big weather fan too. He wasn't happy with Italy front. He wanted more fronts earlier. He liked thunderstorms and stuff. He liked sleet and ice. General Winter. He was a big fan of General Winter, probably. They were friends. What else? What else? 44. I think like all of France falls within like a month or two. The French are really bad about falling. That once they fall, they fall. Or the Germans just give up on France. I think they pull out pretty fast. It's like a month or... There's a battle of the hedgerows, maybe. Some hedgerows and... I don't know. I already told you, this is just a bicycle guy over there, so I gotta keep my insanity down. He's wearing a 23 King jersey. Who is 23 King? 23 King. Is that a proverb? I bet it's a proverb or something from the Bible. 23 King. So, 44, middle of 44. You could, if you wanted to be smart, you would know the date of Normandy, but I don't give a shit, so I'm not gonna look that up. and 44, and then you have, what do you have? You have Hitler. Hitler's always coming up with new ideas. He's always getting his vengeance weapons. He's got these vengeance. He's a revenge fantasy fella. You know, he's a fantastic fella. Always coming up with fantasy weapons. You know, they got the V1, which was like it's kind of like a cheap flying airplane with a bomb on it. Had it had a weird engine where it would go. I don't know, what do you call it, ramjets maybe, or I don't know what it's called. And then they had the V2. The V2. I'm from a place called Florence, Alabama, and an hour from here there's Huntsville, Alabama, and they're all smart in Huntsville. They got all these NASA fellas, and they have this Von Braun Center. This Von Braun fella, he made the V2. You know, I don't like that. You know, he made the V2 for old Hitler. And Hitler was, I guess he was like, this is going to be so cool. They made it with like potato vodka, I think. It ran on like potato vodka. You know, because people like to get drunk. So you can get drunk. I don't know, could you get drunk off of V2 fuel? Maybe. Maybe not, I don't know. Or maybe that's just a fake memory. Maybe it really ran off coal or oil, or maybe it ran off hopes and dreams. I heard a story once where during World War II, America did this Manhattan Project. And the Manhattan Project was where America built Manhattan. Before World War II, there was no Manhattan. I'm just kidding. That's the A-bomb project. And they spent as much money on the A-bomb project as old H-Dog did on the V2. And the V2 killed I think it killed like 10,000 British people. He would launch these missiles into the air. I think they kind of went into space almost, or they got kind of close. I don't know. It's a good question. Did they go into space? Dear NASA, did the V2? Could the V2 go into space? Maybe it could. Maybe it couldn't. I don't know. It could get close. It was kind of when it was on its terminal velocity, you couldn't shoot it down very easily. The V1s would go at like 300 or 400 miles per hour, and you could tip them over with your airplane. But a V2 was probably coming down at maybe 1,000 miles per hour. I don't know how fast it was going. It was going pretty fast. It was maybe 2,000, maybe it was going 100. I don't know how fast they were going, but they couldn't shoot them down. So they were probably pretty fast. You know, because they were shooting them, they go, woo! And I don't know, where's this going? Oh, okay. So Hitler's doing his fantastic Wunderwaffen. You know, in the beginning of the war, they had these tanks. The tanks would weigh like 20, 30 tons. And by the end of the war, they were making these 50, 60, 70 ton. They had these fantasy tanks. There's one, these smart asses, they named one, it weighed like 180 or 200 tons. And because they were so funny, they named it a mouse, because it weighed 200 tons. See, they were so funny, they had such a good sense of humor. They were calling a 200 ton a mouse. You know, in the beginning of the war, they made tanks that were named after cats. They had panthers and tigers. They had tiger twos. I guess tiger twos. They had one called an elephant, which is not a cat, but it was a tiger, I think. But oh yes, they had these things where they would take a tank, and a tank has what's called a turret, and a turret is a thing that rotates 360 degrees. So the Germans made this cool little invention where they take the turret off. They take an old tank and they'd put what's called a fixed superstructure on it. You wouldn't have a turret, but your gun could go like 20 degrees maybe. I'm making a number up here. I'm not a tank expert. I'm giving rough numbers here. You know, a tank can normally do 360. You can 360 no scope. You know, it can jump off a building in 360 no scope. Well, the Stugs could only do like a 20 degree no scope, or a 10 degree, or a 15, or 20, maybe 30. I don't know. You'd have to look it up. Go look up the rotation angles of the guns of a stug. Well, they had one called an elephant, and an elephant was a tiger stug, I guess. I don't know. It was a tiger stug. So, where is this going? Where is this going? Oh yeah, I remember I was telling you the Germans had no oil because they failed to do their case blue. It was an oil war. Oil is very important. Some people say World War II was the first oil war. Because when I was 5 or 6, good old George W. Hitler, he went into the Persian Gulf. So there was this guy named Saddam Hitler, and he invaded this country called Kuwait, and he invaded them to get the oil, I guess. And George W. Hitler, he went in and he said, "You can't do that, Saddam Hitler." And he got a coalition, and they kicked Saddam Hitler out of Kuwait. And what else? So some people think World War II was really an oil war because Europe had no oil, and Russia had a lot of oil, and America had a lot of oil. Because remember that, I don't know if it was during World War II or after, but that George W. Hitler, he made money finding that black gold in Texas, right? So black gold, black oil, black, the top 10%, those Pareto distributions, that pyramid power. Hitler couldn't get his pyramid power going. He never got the Caucasus. They never had the oil to do pyramid power as well as the Allies. Because the more oil you have, the better your pyramid power can be. And where's this going? 44, Normandy. I was born in '86, and 2001. There was those fellas, those Saudi fellas, and they love the Japanese so much that they emulated them with a 747. And then in 2003, there was that big debate of should we, because was it Saddam Hitler who did 9/11? Probably. And I remember being a junior in high school, and our teacher was like, we were just trying to do some civics bullshit. He was like, should we invade and take out Saddam Hitler? And my whole theory was, why can't people just be like, hey, we want to go into Iraq to get their oil? Because I'm a future thinker, what's wrong with going to war for oil? I go to war for oil. Oil's pretty fucking cool. It's the new thing. I mean, back then it was. It's not now. Now everybody's got oil. Now there's fracking and natural gas and Tesla's batteries, and if people back then knew about the Tesla batteries, maybe they would have not tried to go into the Caucasus. Maybe they'd try and get the lithium-ion batteries or something. I don't know. 44. Oh, and the 44. You have all of France is, I think, re-gotten back by the French. De Gaulle Hitler. France. What was De Gaulle's first name? I don't know. So De Gaulle gets Paris back probably. And then it's Christmas. You can always remember where were they in Christmas. I should learn what happened in the Christmas of 43. What happened in the Christmas of 43? I don't know. That would make this joke. That would fill this joke out better. You have like a Christmas of every year. That would make the joke funnier. So Christmas of 44. There's all these fat people. So they have this thing called Hitler's doing all those V1s and V2s, and I don't think he can launch as many of the V2s anymore, or I don't know. He's still got hope. Hitler's a glass half full guy. He's a positive Pete. He's a Heil Hitler guy. He's a what's an H word that stands for positive? High hopes Hitler. He's a hematobin. What's an H word? You're gonna get flagged for saying The thing he said 2 or 3. You can't say Heil Hitler. You just want to say that because it's alliteration. But he's a high hopes fella. So he's like, I'm going to redo what I did in the beginning of the war. I'm going to sickle through the Benelux. Sickle through is fun. So you go through the Benelux, and everybody thinks that Benelux is like a shortcut. Everybody, the Benelux is always being used as a shortcut. Poor Benelux. And what happens? What happens? I don't remember. The Battle of the Fat People. There's the Battle of the Bulge. Because, there's all these fat people. So they have the Battle of the Bulge. That's where people are trying to lose weight. So they go through the Benelux. And they something or other happens. It doesn't work. I don't think it works. There was some cool German fella. If you ever want to trick the ladies, I heard this story once about this Jewish fella, and he made a fake bank ATM receipt showing he was like a millionaire. And back in the old days, they had something like that. And they used to fence. And this guy had like a scar across his face. He was a cool fella, and it turns into because a scar is very, very handsome. In The Sopranos, there was some rapper who wanted to get shot in the butt. You can get one of them. There's a term for it. I gotta remember the term for that beautiful scar you can get across your face from fencing. Scorsese. He was a cool fucker. Scorsese Hitler. And he, I forgot. I didn't even talk about Mussolini because Mussolini got rescued by Scorsese. Did Scorsese did Scorsese wear like fake American GI clothes and try and fake people out? Maybe it was Scorsese. I don't know. I gotta get one. Wundervessel. It's a scar across your face. Gotta get one of them scars. I'll have to find a mobster. He can give me one. I'll pay him like a couple $1,000s and he'll cut my face and give me a nice scar on my cheek. It'll be the hottest thing ever. Oh yeah. Scorsese. 44, end of 44. Christmas in 44. The Battle of the Bulge. So 45. Oh, I didn't even talk about the cool parts. The cool parts in the East. I was telling you about them Russians. You remember how the first year they sucked? The second year they didn't suck as much. And then the end of the second year, the end of 42, they did their own Kessel. And then they did their own Camorra Torta, Haboda Doda, their own figure four. Let's call it I know wrestling moves better than I know MMA moves. They do their own sharpshooter. How about a sharpshooter or a figure four? A Boston Crab. What was Sting's one? Sting had one where he would do something with your legs, right? Was it just called a Stinger walk? I don't know. I'm gonna pull my notebook out so I can use the right terms. It was a Goga La Plata, an Oma La Plata, a Camorra. Okay, I can't remember that shit. That's why I have a notebook. Notebooks are very important to have. You can write down information and then that you will not remember. So, 44, the same time as D-Day, the Russians have gotten really, really smart. The victim has become the villain now. They have this thing called, what was that Russian thing called in 44? They had this thing called, not Citadel, not Kursk. Bagration. They have a Bagration, and these silly Germans, they get Bagrationed, and this Stalin fella, he does his own little cauldron. He cauldrons a big old center group of German soldier fellas. They probably were the coal. I bet most of them were coal people. They were probably the coal fellas. They couldn't drive around fast. But they get Bagrationed, and good old Stalin, he takes their weapons away. and he has like 50,000 of them marched down the middle of Moscow. Imagine how cool that would be, you know, being like a Bagration fella, and you get to march down Moscow Boulevard without your weapon, of course. They took their weapons away, but ooh, they must have felt like they made them wear doofus hats, or what is it called? The hats you have to wear. The not doofus hats. What are those hats called? They didn't make them wear the ass hats. That would be pretty funny though if they did. Not Nimrod. Not. What are those hats called? Really? You can't remember the name of a hat? Oh well. 50,000 march down Moscow Boulevard. The predator has become the prey. The cauldroner has become the cauldronee. It'd be like if that Karate Kid beat up that Chinese or that Japanese guy in the Karate Kid. It'd be kind of cool, right? Wax on, wax off. Oh well, so they do that at the same time around Normandy, I think. But nobody remembers that. All I remember is Normandy. Army Group Center is destroyed. Do-de-do-de-do-do-do-do-do. So that's the end of 44. And then 45. Hitler's still smoking crack. He still thinks he's going to pull this one out. You know, you got to admire the optimism on the fucker, you know. The three fronts and things are going bad. You got Bagrations, you got... But his Wunderwaffe will win the war. In his head. He's probably doing a lot of meth, too. So it helps to do meth if you want to keep your head up high. Do some meth. He'll pull it out. So 45. 45. Anyone in Germany who had an IQ over 110 probably was like, this thing ain't winnable. But if you said that, you got hung by piano wire. I saw some movie with Scarlett Johansson in it. It was very sad. She gets hung. It's kind of sad. Like, you don't even see her face when she gets hung. Very sad. But she was kind of a bad mother in that movie, wasn't she? Because like, shouldn't you just kept your mouth shut and been like, the war's almost over. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. She would go around putting little pieces of paper places. She kind of deserved it, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she didn't. She had a kid at home. She shouldn't have been doing that. She should have been. I don't know. That's a good question. Moral question. Should she have not been? Well, she did have that Jewish lady. Jewish girl. I couldn't watch that movie. It started getting me all, felt sappy and I felt sad. And I was like, oh no. Oh well. What was the rest of this story? Where's this story going? 45. V2s. Did you know that in Italy they had, people think Hitler was like fully crazy, but he had sarin nerve gas. He had a ton of it too. Like, they never used that. I always thought that was weird. There was some bombing in Italy where the Americans were scared the Germans were going to use like a nerve gas, and they had their own nerve gas in Italy. And the Germans bombed the port, and it killed like 100 or 200 people because the nerve gas killed a bunch of people. That's a weird story. I don't know. Shouldn't make Hitler sound good. But he didn't use the nerve gas. But then again, once someone uses the nerve gas, everybody uses nerve gas. It's like the cauldron problem. Once you cauldron, you start getting cauldroned. Probably, maybe, I don't know. What other stories are there? 45. The war just goes really bad. Anyone who's smart knows it's... Oh yeah, after D-Day, a lot of them generals were getting all uppity. They're like, hey, this war ain't winnable, buddy, buckaroo. Hey, old H-Dog, this war ain't winnable, buckaroo. You need to clean your room, H-Dog. So they tried to blow him up, and he would hang them by piano wire, I guess. So more piano wire. Piano wires did pretty well. People who made piano wire did pretty well in World War II. So it's kind of a moral of the story. Make piano wire. You can always sell piano wire and do well. Some people were talking in an intersection, and one fellow or lady did not like that, so they honked. So what else happened? 45. Oh yeah, they keep fighting. They just keep fighting because it's fun to fight. Fighting is fun. I like to fight. Who doesn't like fighting? It's so fun. So, and then everybody knows April 20th of 45. That's when, the Germans, they would give out these awesome pills. There were these almond vanilla pills. They gave your breath vanilla and almond, like a Tic Tac, and it made your breath smell like almond and Tic Tacs, almond vanilla, and people would take those because everybody likes a Tic Tac. Who doesn't like Tic Tacs? And what else happened? Then Steiner was not a nice guy. He failed. Steiner was going to end the war. Steiner could have come in and changed everything, but he didn't. I don't know how he would have done it, but he would have done it. He chose not to. And then what happened? Hitler was in his Führer bunker in Berlin, above the Reichstag. Oh, this is a little known historical fact. Not historical fact. It's a historical conspiracy theory. It's a historical made up event that never happened. But what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and a making something up? So most historians today believe that old H dog, he gave his dog one of them almond vanilla extract Tic Tacs to test it, and then he was going to take one of those Tic Tacs, and he married his love of his life, Mrs. Eva Hitler, and he grabbed one of them German pistols, them Luger pistols, and he did the old he did a Cagney Carter impression, but with a pistol and a Tic Tac. He did I don't think Cagney Carter was alive back then, so they wouldn't have called it him doing a Cagney Carter. They would have called it something else. Oh well, that's what most historians believe. But recent conspiracy theories have created the conspiracy that what H Dog actually did was he created an elaborate Ruse Goldberg machine. A Ruse Goldberg machine is a machine that it's like a domino. See, you ever seen like a dominoes where one domino hits the next domino, and then something gets lit and on fire? You ever seen like Back to the Future when he makes toast? You ever seen the ice machine in Back to the Future, the West one? What's a Ruse Goldberg machine? A Ruse Goldberg machine. Ruse Goldberg. Like a candle lights a string, and the string has tension, and then the string snaps, and it kicks a boot into a ball, and the ball goes down a ramp, and the ramp, hits some more dominoes probably, and then what else happens after that? It's just a bunch of random things that happen one after the other, and then there's more causality because of the Ruse Goldberg machine. And so at the end of it, so it's like a minute-long Ruse Goldberg machine, and H-Dog makes this big, elaborate, artistic work, and at the end he puts a Luger pistol. And he does that. He says his prayers, takes his vitamins, accepts Jesus into his heart. A minute later, the bullet goes in his head. Right now, he is in heaven. A lot of people don't know that. He accepted Jesus into his heart. He hit the domino, accepted Jesus into his heart. A minute later. That's a conspiracy theory, or it's just something I made up. It amuses me. It amuses me. There was another story. After the historical story is that he took a vanilla pill and a Luger to the head, and then he had some people burn his body, and then the Russians found the body, and they had his dentist look at his teeth, and they're like, "Oh, that's Hitler because of his teeth." You know, anyone who's smart has a, like I personally, I have a person who has teeth just like mine, just so I can fake my death if I need to. But Hitler didn't think it had that much. That's a loud dog. That's one of those dogs that, what's the dog that the cops would have? Not a mean dog, the bloodhound. It's a bloodhound. The one with the big floppy ears. It wasn't a German Shepherd, it was a bloodhound. That's what that was barking at me. Yeah, bloodhound. Oh, I'm looking at you. You want to come back to the fence? I'll beat you up, dog. You better be careful. I'm gonna come back here. What if I made a joke about putting metal shavings in a steak and then someone else did? I shouldn't make that joke, because if that dog dies, I'll get blamed for it. Because people could figure out what dog I'm talking about. Ooh, I would never kill a dog. They're innocent. People, on the other hand, not innocent. Dogs, very innocent. And children, people, oh well, not a good joke. Hey, did you know there's a new conspiracy theory about Hitler where, the crazy thing about Hitler is Hitler never went to a concentration camp, I don't think. Off the top of my head, I don't think he did. Some of the top fellas in the Nazi party did, and they would like throw up. They were little pussies. They'd be like, this is disgusting, because, imagine being around people who smell and they weigh like 50 pounds less than they should. They look like skin and bone. It'd be kind of disgusting to be around, and, you might have the moral culpability. Maybe some of that. They probably didn't have that, but maybe they did, maybe they didn't. New historical conspiracy theories have found that once a week, Hitler would go down to the local concentration camp, and he'd find the shower, and he'd drop the pellets in himself. I'm jesting. He never did that, I don't think. He was a smart fella. I don't even think he ever directly said to do it. I think he just sort of hinted at things. He would hint at things. He was a dancing dervish. He was he was silver-tongued devil. His breath smelled like almonds. Beautiful breath. Smelled like almonds. Almonds and was it vanilla or almonds? I can't remember. Vanilla, almonds, Tic Tac. In honor of World War II, Tic Tac is now releasing a vanilla almond Tic Tac. Probably not. The Hitler Tic Tac. Oh, so the Russians they didn't share. They find the dead body and they get the dentist to look at it. And they don't share it with the Allies. Good old Stalin, he's like, where's Hitler? And he knows where the Hitler is because he's got the body, but he's like, you Allies are hiding Hitler from me. And that's where you get some of the Argentina Hitler myths, and you get some of them conspiracy theories. He escaped on a U-boat. He's secretly alive to this day. I heard this one conspiracy theory that he eats like babies, and he's like 300 years old or whatever, 1890 to whatever current year is. I heard a conspiracy theory that that old Donald guy he got kidnapped in the 80s, and they did a surgery, and Hitler took his face and he put, kind of like Terminator. You ever see Terminator, the T2, you can put faces on other people because there's exoskeletons or something. That could be true. Probably not true, but it's made up. I made it up. It could be true. It's a conspiracy theory. So James Cameron sort of stole the whole, face-off thing with stealing people's faces. Because it was John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. They would steal faces. They would do surgeries with faces. Where was this story going? Where did the story start from? It's about Hitler and doting. And Hitler found out. There's an important lesson I always wondered this about Hitler. It was because Hitler was he was lied to as a kid. He was told he was a good artist, but he was a terrible artist. So I think at a certain point he sort of just was like, did you know, because Hitler invented this genius idea, it's called the big lie. You know how like there's small lies? Like a small lie might be like your girlfriend asks you if, do I look fat in these jeans? You'd be like, you don't look fat in those jeans. That would be like a small lie, a white lie. Well, Hitler invented the big lie. So like the big lie would be like, you know, he stole, I don't know if he stole that, but there's this Nation of Islam idea called Yaqub. And Yaqub is this white devil fella. So all problems come from Yaqub, or in Christianity you have Satan. Satan creates all problems. When Hitler's, I don't know if I want to say teleology. There's probably some big philosophical word for worldview or good and evil. All evil came from these monotheistic fellas called the ADL. The ADL is the cause of all problems, according to Hitler, and that was his big lie. He didn't, he refused to tell white lies. He would never tell a white lie. If someone asked him, "Do I look fat in these jeans?" He would be like, he would be honest. He was a very honest fellow when it came to the small lies. He would never tell. If you asked him, "Do I look fat in these jeans?" He'd give you his honest opinion. He'd be like, "You look fat in those jeans." But he could tell the big lies really well. So the big lies are like, I stubbed my knee the other day. I hit my toe. It hurt a lot. You know whose fault it was? The ADL. The ADL's fault that I stubbed my toe. I blame everything on the ADL. Is that, yeah, I think that's right. I need to look up that acronym real quick. I'm not gonna, but too lazy. So don't trust people. If you meet a person who will not tell a white lie, don't trust them, because the more white lies you tell, the less big lies you tell. That's kind of I wonder if that's true. Could that be true? Like, because if you don't tell enough white lies, the energy encompasses you, and you must get the lie energy out, according to Freudian fluid mechanics of psychology. So, where was this joke going? Hitler. Oh, and I was telling you about how I have facial blindness about Hitler, and I think you're all Hitler. Every human being I've ever met is kind of a Hitler fella or lady. Trump's Hitler. Bill Clinton was Hitler. And then I think of that World War I. There's a World War I officer guy who was over Hitler. And he did a review of Hitler, and he said, Hitler's like a dog looking for a master. So whenever I feel hatred towards humanity, I just remember, that's what I think of. I think of humans, and I think, you're just all like Hitler. You're all just looking for a master. He's trying to do like a black voice. Good old Hitler was he's a dog looking for a master. A puppy. He was a puppy. Do an Adam Sandler joke about puppies and the French Revolution, was it the Industrial Revolution or the French Revolution? Oh well. Hitler was like a puppy, just looking for a master. That's my Hitler joke, so it doesn't. I wonder how long I did that one. It's my aristocrats joke. It's my kill time joke. You can fill it out a little better if you wanted. You're not going to learn some more dates in World War II. There's probably some better ones in there. There's Norway. I didn't talk about Norway. I didn't talk about any of the air battles. I didn't talk about the Me-262. I didn't talk about Panzerfaust. I didn't talk about Sturmgewehrs. I was telling you about Tommy's gun. The Sturmgewehr is the main battle rifle shot your dad's .308. Well, a Tommy gun fires a 9mm, and then when the two have sex together, because guns can have sex, they have this thing called a Sturmgewehr, or an AK-47, or an assault rifle, because the 9mm fucks the .308, and they merge together to become like a 5.56, or there's some middle ground round. What other ways could I expand my aristocratic Hitler joke? I didn't talk about North Africa. there's that Rommel fella. He was in North Africa, and that was around the same time as... Was that the same time as Stalingrad? I think it was the first year of the Russian War. I could try and combine those two things together. The desert fox. He had to take a vanilla almond extract pill because he was involved in the bomb plot, I guess. He was like the Romans. The Romans had that thing where, they'll let your family live, but you have to kill yourself. So good old Rommel had to take a tic-tac. Tic-tac Rommel, tic-tac Rommel. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. What else? What else was happening in World War II? There's a Holocaust. I didn't really talk about that. 6 million. There's 6 million of the ADL people and 6 million of the other people. There's a tile place over here making a lot of noise. Hey, tile place. And what else is happening in World War II? There was a bunch of bombing of cities. They had these big plants. They make aircraft and tanks. And they bomb those. Bearings. Ball bearings. Something about that was really important. What else? Romania. Romania had a whale. I could have talked about that. I could have talked about how... Remember how I was telling you about how the Pareto distribution, the pyramid power of World War II was the 10%, the 20% had a whale, and the 80% were dumbasses who walked around in trains and horses? Well, the Germans tried to create this way of turning the 80% of coal into oil through a fancy process. There's a way of turning coal into oil. Very fancy. Very fancy. It's hard to turn the 80% into the 20%. The mob, the protists, the mouth breathers, he's trying to make the 80% sound like the pyramid base. He's being elitist. I don't know. You'd have to watch yesterday's joke to get this joke, because he's being an elitist. He's turning the 80-20 rule into a snob rule. A snob rule. Not to sound like a snob, but snob things. Snobby things. Snobby. 80-20. What else could I talk about? I could talk about... I don't know, some railroad tracks. Talk about railroads. Talk about Latvia with Slovenia, Latvia. How about Finland? Talk about Finland. Talk about... in America they had this big factory. It was called 1 Mile Long Factory. It was in Michigan, I think. There's a factory that was 1 mile long. And because I'm a comedian, I can exaggerate things. So it was a 100-mile factory, and every second they could produce a B-29. Every second. So however many seconds there are in a day multiplied by 365. That's how many B-29s got created in the 100-mile factory. It's a joke about mass production, because mass production was really important. We talk about German tanks. They handcrafted their tanks. They did their beers handcrafted, while the Americans, and the Russians, they made their Budweisers. They just cranked them out. They cranked out their... You could do that analogy. It'd be kind of amusing, maybe. Maybe not. No one's gonna like that joke. That joke's not that funny. What other jokes could I do about World War II? I'm not gonna do any soap jokes. Let's see. Jokes about World War II. So hard to you read a history book. Hitler, facial blindness, misanthropy, Owens. There was that black fella who met Hitler, Henry Owens, or I could connect that maybe. Would that connect? Nope. Henry, the runner, Owens guy, he slapped Will Smith in the face because they're all black, I guess. Light a match and watch it burn. Fa la 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 la. Da 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 da. What other jokes are there? How many hours do I got here? What do I... Oh, is this thing even on? 2:55. 2:55. I did this for 3 hours. Good job. Good job, friend. Good job, friend. So there you go. World War II, and then the Cold War. The Cold War started after that, right? And I could have talked about how Hitler thought I think it was FDR died before him, and he was so delusional he thought he still thought he was gonna win the war. I always liked that about him. I always liked that about old Hitler. Old Hitler always puts a smile on my face. Good old Hitler puts a smile on my face. Optimistic, glass half full. I don't know, that's... Are you not entertained? To quote Russell Brand, Russell Crowe, the Gladiator fella. You know, you got the American Gladiators. That was a TV show, right? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Grab one of your padded sticks and put some spandex on, and we'll meet in the gladiator ring. There's a website called Civid AI, and they make you can make AI stuff on it, and they have a painting style. They have Hitler's painting style, so you can, if you typed in like village, it took all his paintings and it created the essence of his painting. That's pretty funny. I don't know. It's not. You're expecting like good jokes out of this? I don't have any good jokes. I just have a bunch of lame jokes. Sorry. I thought you know that, right? Like, none of these jokes are that good. They're just sort of mediocre, wasters of timers jokes. Way too much. What time is it anyway? 4? Is it 4:26? It says 4:26 on my phone. So it's 4:26. That's why there's so much traffic, I guess. So... Terminator? You already talked about Terminators, right? Yeah. You already do I can't remember what jokes I've done and not done anymore. All of reality has sort of merged into one snow globe of that hospital show from the 80s. Saint Elsewhere, was it? It's all just a snow globe. I can't remember. Was any of this real? Was any of this real? The multiverse. The superhero multiverse. The ES. Some youngins jogging. Some young ones. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. The world's funniest comedian is not me, it's me. There's a pipe, or a... I'm gonna get across the street eventually. Holy shit, there's a bunch of more cars. Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. Here's a dead guy's memorial. He's got a hat and he's got a bunch of hats. And leave a note for dead fella who died right there. Shouldn't make dead fella jokes. Someone will be offended. Yeah, I didn't make that joke. That was someone else. That was Bezos paid me to do that joke, or that other fella paid me to do the joke. I didn't do the joke. These are all the CIA with their UAVs has commanded me to. It's like you get out of prison and you're like, when I was a kid, everybody's in a hurry now. And then you have to do the old guy impression from the Shawshank Redemption. And you gotta get a pigeon to feed some bread to. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's in a hurry. Where did everybody get in such a hurry? Dude, what was it, Lebensborn? The Lebensborn, I could do a joke about Lebensborn. So you did, didn't you already do some DNA jokes yesterday? Lebensborn would be connected to the DNA jokes. Lebensborn, paperclip. I'm from Florence, so we got Von Braun over an hour away. And that could connect to, you did the nihilist, the Neil Armstrong joke, the nihilist Neil Armstrong joke. I can connect to that, maybe. Nope. Probably not. Doesn't connect. Nihilistic Neil Armstrong. Nihilistic Neil Armstrong. I'm gonna make it across this eventually. If it takes me getting hit by a car, I'll make it. Shit, I should have gone. Should have gone. Should I? I can still go. Oh, nope. That truck's coming. I can go. Nope, can't go. It's about, have you ever tried to jaywalk and you're like, can I make it? And then another car comes out and you're like, oh, I cannot make it. Light a match and watch it burn. La 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 la. There was that show I watched called what was that one with but the poor people who were like secretly rich. Not secretly rich, but they weren't as poor as they thought. They acted like the shameless Fiona and Shameless. Some joke about, it's not that good of a joke. Fire truck, medic 5. Fire truck, medic 5. Do 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 do. Do doting jokes. I was watching this documentary, not a documentary, I think it was an interview about Tupac for you, 4-pack for you, 6-pack for you. Tupac was the wrestler, right? The wrestler was Tupac. 4-pack, Tupac? No, the rapper was Tupac. Were they both named Tupac? What was that guy's name? Oh, well, the rapper was called Tupac. And, I think it was like Will Smith's wife. Went to like high school with him. And, you know, she was the reason Will Smith had to slap that fella. If you remember. And, she went to high school with that Tupac fella. It was like an artsy school. I think it was an artsy-fartsy school. And there was like an interview with like a 14-year-old Tupac. He's like, Tupac wasn't a gangster, actually. That's what's so funny about Tupac. He's just an actor. He's a crisis actor, to use Alex Jones' terms. He was paid by Bezos and who else was he paid by? I keep forgetting. Who's the British guy who shorted the pound? He's the really evil guy. He's the one I always just want to remember his name, and I can't remember his name. Because I don't think Bezos did he just did Amazon, and Amazon's pretty cool. I like Amazon. I don't like people who short the pound. They're not cool. Okay, he was a jerk. But Bezos, you know, you can at least look at Bezos and be like, he's like the Walmart guy. Because, you know, Walmart put a bunch of people out of business, but Walmart's kind of cool, and Amazon's kind of cool, so you can't really hate Bezos. You're just like, I wish I would have had the Amazon idea. I wish I owned Amazon. You can't call Amazon evil, though. Amazon is just a monolithic super corporation that will crush you like a Blade Runner-esque. You know, what are them corporations like in Johnny Mnemonic, or like a corporation in a what is that? There's some famous writer where the term cyberspace comes from. There's some writer who invented the term cyberspace, and corporations where I could crush you in his books. So you got to be careful of them corporations, according to that writer. And you are talking about, you're talking about yourself in the third person. Cuckoo for coconuts. Cuckoo for coconuts. Aisle 3, please. What is that guy's name? What is his name? Bezos. Is that a Tesla? Is that an electric car? It sounded electric. I want me an electric car. That'd be cool. For like 5 minutes, and then you'd realize it's just like a normal car. And I remember I got cable internet one time, and it was cool for like the first 6 hours, and then you just get used to it. Everything, you become used to everything, and then you're like, you thought it was gonna be great, and then you're like, it's great, I guess. When you think about it, when I was a kid, you know, getting a 40 meg file would take a long time. You get 10 KB a second, and now you can get a 40 meg file in like 10 seconds? I don't know. How long does it take to get a 40 meg file? off the internet. If you're getting it from like Microsoft, it's probably like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. When I was a kid, 40 megs would take 10 kb a second times 10 times 10 would be 100. So 100 is 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. And times 10. 5 minutes a meg? Is that 5 minutes a meg? Really? It's 5 minutes a meg. Holy moly. You kids have it so easy. You guys get like a meg a second, right? You get more than that, you probably get 2-3 megs a second. 2-3 megs a second. 2-3 megs a second. When I was a kid, we got 10 kb a second. 10 kb. 10 kb. 10 kb. Griffith. It's a lion with wings. That's what a griffith is according to this cool sign. Let's see, we got a lot of teeth shit around here. A lot of people like teeth. And then we got some Charlotte. What else happened? What else happened? When I was a kid, you could use a 56K modem, which made cool noises. That was not that cool. There's a thing called Net Zero. I used Net Zero for a while. It had ads. You could get free dial-up internet. That was a thing, right? That existed. It was real. It was a real memory, right? It was a implanted memory from the, not to get all Philip K. Dick on you. It was an implanted memory from the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire created Net Zero as a way to, it's an interest. I've never walked around here. I'm just gonna find some stuff. I'm gonna walk around, see if there's anything I can steal later tonight. Doing a scoping out operation. Oh, just got some nice stuff to steal. Steal. Nice houses, actually. Nice houses to steal from. Nice houses to steal from. I should become a thief. I need to become like a. What if you made like a UAV that could pick up stuff? You could go to people's houses and pick up their stuff. What if you made a UAV that could pick up cars? That'd be pretty cool. You go around stealing cars. You'd see UAVs in the sky, and they'd be picking up cars. That'd be like the people who collect. You know when you don't pay for your car in time, and they tow your car. They could have like a UAV that comes down and picks it up, or it could be a drone swarm, a swarm of like 100 drones shoots like Spider-Man web, and then all 100 of them pick up your car and tow it away because you didn't pay your car title. I don't know. I'm just walking. I didn't get my car taken from the time. I was doing that because I think it was a cool idea. Because there's some 80s movies about that, like Repo Man. And there's a Repo movie in the 80s with some other people in it. Repo Men, UAV Repo Men, UAV Repo vehicles. With Spider-Man webbing, because you could just create one big one, or you could create 100 small ones, and that would be a drone swarm, which would be, a swarm is the new hip thing, because a swarm it's like bee swarm, or that Wu-Tang song, there's a swarm of bees or something, or something. I think the big one would look cooler. Because, here's the thing about a swarm. Well, then again, which would be better? One big one. But if you had one big one, you'd want to have, like, one extra engine. So if it took 4 engines to pick up the car, you'd want it to have, like, 5 engines so that if one of the engines went out, you could still pick the car up. With a swarm, you'd want to have like 80, like you'd want to have, a percentage of extra in the swarm to pick up the car with the spider web in case some of the swarm went bad, I guess. I don't know. And that is what goes through my brain. Random swarm thoughts. Okay, I think this is a circle, and I'm not going to be able to go farther north in this circle, which is not cool. So I wanted to go farther north. Not north, but that way. So, not cool, but nice houses. Definitely some, I wonder if I can get some, I'll have to build a swarm of drones to steal all their cars. In local news, multiple cars have been seen flying through the air with spider web. And it's like 100 drones, all carrying a car connected by Spider-Man. I'd have to invent Spider-Man webbing. That's why I think one drone would work better. With a big magnet like they do in the junkyards. That'd probably ruin the car though, right? Because if you pick a car up by its roof, it probably breaks the car. You'd have to go under the car with some metal stuff and, some steal cars you must. Yep, this was a circle. I'm not gonna find anything in here. No exit, said Sartre. No exit from this circle. So thank you. Let's see, how much battery do I have? I'm getting some battery life out of this shit, man. What do I got? 3 hours, 15 minutes? Nice. I think I want to get 4 hours out of this fucker. 4 hours out of this fucker. That's what you get when you get lower bit rate. I was talking about bit rate earlier because you got like KB per second. This guy didn't trust me. He knows. He's a dog. He knows that I'm a T800. He knows who I am. Some human beings, they know, you ever looked at a person and like, something fishy about that human with fake skin, that T800 pretending to be a human. That's what that fella is. That fella to the left of me knows. He's like a dog in Terminator 2. He knows I'm a T800. I don't like that. His dog will start barking at me. Ooh, no. Do. That's why dogs bark at me. They know I'm a Terminator. I'm a Terminator. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger from the movies. Not really. What if a person really believed that? That'd be kind of cool. I don't literally believe that. I mean, I believe I'm a robot, but I'm a cybernetic robot with calcium bones. I don't have any chips in me. So technically, there's nothing you could, if you cut me open, I would look just like a human being, but I identify as a T800, which is kind of meaningless when you identify as a T800, yet you still have calcium bones and, blood going through arteries. I still eat calories. So I'm basically a human who has lost track of reality. Yeah, I'm a person who has no grasp of reality. I identify as a T800, yet I have none of the characteristics of a T800. Ugh, sucks. Don't ever be born into a body where you identify as a T800 and you can't lift 1,000 pounds over your head, or it's not cool. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool. Da 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 da. Do. There's apartments back here. They built these in the past probably 10 or 20 years because I haven't seen them. I've never walked back here, so it's new to me. If you haven't seen it, it's new to you. That was a NBC thing. They had a thing where they'd be like, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. It's new to me. It's not new, but it's new to me, so. How much camera? Does it say low battery yet? Low battery soon or later. This is recording. Yep. There's a round church over there. Kind of cool. It's a roundhouse. When your life gets you so down, you know you can go down to where the music and more. It's a song from a Nickelodeon show. It was like their attempt to do SNL on Nickelodeon called Roundhouse. It was about a round church in Florence, Alabama. It was a round, and they called it Roundhouse. So I think this one will go through. I'm gonna go left here now. Bruin Place Apartments now leasing. You better be leasing because you got that sign up there. Smith and Smith. They sell guns at Smith and Smith? Probably. I can't see what this thing says below it. It's a endone something. It's medical. Some townhomes, some tomb homes. Huh. Kinda gotta pee. Is there a place I can pee around here? Not in public. Don't pee in public. It is against the rules. Don't pee in public. You'll go to jail for a long, long time, and you'll have to put yourself on a map on the internet, probably. See, it's better to piss your pants probably than to pee in public. So that'd probably be the rules, the common sense rules here. Walk around with like a big. There you go. That's a good joke. UNA Lions. Huh. I need a mascot. See, most teams are so boring. They have to associate it with an animal. Why can't a team just be good enough without a mascot? Why can't it be cool if you had a team that was so good they didn't need a mascot or a team name? They were just like, we're the team from city blank. And then they weren't like the dogs or the lions or the tigers or the bears or the panthers or the tigers or the... What other tanks are there? But they have a big garage. They have an RV garage. There must have been an RV in there. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Gosh, man, I did this joke yesterday, but I'll do it again. Man, what's that fucker's name? Todd Howard, man. You got to do a better job designing this world, man. This is fucking boring, man. Todd, come on, Todd. Come on, Todd. Show me something interesting. Show me something fucking interesting, Todd. This looks copy and pasted. This looks fucking copy and pasted, Todd. Yeah, I think that's the problem with video games. Because like in video games, I could just walk into one of these people's houses, and they'd probably say hi to me. In the real world, you walk into someone else's house, you get like the cops called on you. I'm playing New Vegas. You're under arrest. I thought I was in New Vegas, man. I thought I was in New Vegas. You're not in New Vegas. You're in the real world. You can't just walk into people's houses. Fucking Todd Howard. That's the reason I got arrested. I didn't get arrested. I've never walked into another person's house. I don't think I have. If I have, I don't remember it. I'm doing this joke because I'm walking around a residential neighborhood and it all looks the same and yep, that doesn't work. It makes it sound like you've walked in. The more you defend it, the more, okay, I've been arrested 100 times for walking into people's houses, and you just walk around, you try and walk into their house, and it fails. And I was like, I thought it was playing Skyrim. I thought it was playing New Vegas, huh? This was Fallout 4. I get Fallout 4 and the real world mixed up. See, that's why he was saying, Todd Howard designed this neighborhood. Todd Howard didn't design this neighborhood. It's probably a corporation did, like a subcontracting corporation or what is it? What do they call it when the people build the neighborhoods? They probably designed it. It wasn't Todd Howard. Todd Howard is symbolic of all creators. It's all copy and pasted. They all have the same fences and they all have the same bricks. They all have the same white garage doors. Huh. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. What do these things cost? 200-300? 200-300, 400. Probably look it up. The cheap ones are up here. They got the shared walls. You know, where the townhouses are where they share. Townhouses where they share walls. You know, it's like, it looks like San Francisco where they ram the houses together. Full house style. Full house style. Full house style. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Got a Marco's pizza car. He delivering some pizza to the people. Pizza to the people. That would be a good political thing. I promise pizza for the people. Pizza for the people. Pizza for the people. I'll tell you, I'm unhappy with Walmart because I used to buy these pizzas at Walmart for like $2.80. They were these rising crust pizzas. They were great value. Now they're like $4.50, $5. They might be like $5 now. That's bullshit, man. I'm telling you, man. I used to be able to buy it was like 1,500, 2,000 calories of pizza for like $3. You know, it takes 20 minutes to cook in the oven. $5 now. Impeach Trump. Impeach him. It's all his fault because I want my $3 pizza back. He wants me to vote for him. Get my pizza back down to $3, buddy. Buckaroo. Buckaroo. Queen the pizza prices. Queen the pizza prices. Huh. Not that good. I think there was a while for a while when you bought the buy one get one free 2 liters at Publix, they'd be like $1. You could get like a 2 liter of Coke for like $1 at Publix when it was buy one get one free. Now it's like $2. You know, whoever did that, whatever president did that, impeach him. It was probably Biden or Trump or maybe it was Hitler, maybe it was FDR, maybe it was Stalin, maybe Putin. Someone needs to be impeached for that. Definitely. Impeach them. Make them drink peaches. Peach schnapps. You're just talking to hear yourself talk. Shut up. You're not allowed to. Stop pointing out the obvious. Did you not figure that out like 30 minutes ago, an hour ago? Did you not figure that out the first 5 minutes of me talking? What are you, an idiot? Should I go right or left here? I'm gonna go this way. Do. Fire hydrant. Should go take a piss on the fire hydrant. Be kind of cool. I sexually identify as a dog. I can take a piss on the fire hydrant. Police officer, you cannot arrest me. I am a dog. Which would be worse, you know, because if you're a human, you'd have to put yourself on like one of them pictures on the map. You'd be like, public indecency, peeing on a fire hydrant. And if you're a dog, they'd probably just like, if you sexually identify as a dog, they're allowed to like put you down. You know, the next human being who sexually identifies as a dog tries to get away with a crime, the governor or the mayor or the person in charge is like, okay, you're a dog. Have him put down. I'm a human. I swear I'm a human. You said you were a dog, man. We're putting you down. I'm a human. Hey, look, I've got video evidence. You just said you were a dog, dude. You were a dog. Did you not say you were a dog? It was a joke. It was a joke. I swear. I just wanted to take a piss in public. It wasn't literal. It was me trying to skirt the rules by pretending to be a dog. But I'm not actually a dog. I don't even know what a dog is. Okay. Okay. That's what I always wanted to do with those flat earthers. Like, I always wanted to put a flat earther in a situation where it was like life or death. You know, like the decision of, when I say life or death, like, I don't mean like hold a gun to their head. I mean like, there's got to be some like event in life where like, if you really believed the world was flat, you'd act one way, and then if you really believed the world was round, you would act the other way. Like, you know, like if someone said, you know, like, I don't know how to explain that. I'd like to put them in that situation. I don't believe in flat earthers, actually. I don't think anyone actually believes in the flat earth. I think it's just a ruse. It's a ruse that people have created to troll technique. It's a troll. They're trolling you. I don't think anyone actually doesn't believe in global warming. I think they just were like, we already bought all the Canadian land. We already bought all the Russian land. You know. Probably not. Maybe someone actually does. I do. I believe the world is round or flat or hollow. And that's a good question. Do I believe that? Huh. Oh well. If I was going to take a piss, there's a nice area. There's enough room in here for like 4 or 5 houses to build. Someone could build 4 or 5 houses in this area. So a lot of pee area. I could sexually identify as a dog in there and maybe not get caught. But I'm going to make it home, and I'm not going to get put on a map because I'm smart. Only stupid people sexually identify as a dog in public. Right? Maybe. Windows and gutter cleaning. La da 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 da. Do 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 do. Da 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 da. The camera cuts out for like a minute, and you look at the thing. It's like, oh, he went and took a piss. He didn't. I was I just thought of that. I was like, he turned the camera off for a minute and then he came back. But he said he would not do that. He did. He lied. He's a liar. He's a liar. Blue car with a kayak. Canoe, a kayak. A canoe and a kayak. A canoe and a kayak. I'll tell you, I feel bad for people. There's some people in this world who do not enjoy hearing their own voice. As long as I can hear my own voice, I'm as happy as can be. You just have to muzzle me. See, you gotta muzzle the dogs. That's a dog reference. You connected that joke there. Yeah. You connected the dots. It's like connecting the dots would be like a preschool thing, right? Or yeah, make a shape with some dots and then you connect them. I wonder when you look up at the stars, what happens if you connect all the dots? I wonder if there's a shape if you connect all the dots. Huh. I wonder if any of them astrologists or shit have figured that shit out yet. I mean, then you'd have to number the dots, though. How do you number them? Number the dots, then fill in the dots. Then you could color the dots. Okay, this isn't going anywhere. I need to do some push-ups. This is all actually an elaborate. Have you ever seen that picture of Tom Cruise walking in front of a blue screen on a treadmill for the movie Eyes Wide Shut? This is all just a treadmill with a blue screen and some random sound effects in the background. Could you prove that or not? Well, maybe. I hope nothing. I didn't check the video from yesterday, so I don't know. I think it's all upwards, so you can't really tell where I am at, which is good. There's this place up here. It smells like gas. It smelled like gas like twice. If you live in the Cedar, is it Cedars? The entrance to the Cedars. There's this like entrance thing, and they got a gas thing behind it. Because I think there's some gas lamps. It smells kind of like gas. You got a gas leak, maybe. You know, if only people had listened to the lunatic rantings of the lunatics, they would have known about the gas leak behind the cedar something. Barra? Remember Barra? How much? Doesn't say how much. It says I have a bunch of hard drive space left, right? I do not have. It doesn't give me battery. Does it smell like gas? Is it gonna smell like gas? Does it smell like gas? I don't smell any gas today. Nope, I don't think I smell any gas. But I walked away here like twice and it smelled like gas, so no gas today. Maybe gas later. Maybe gas. I smell gas now. I think. I don't know, but I'm on the other side. Who knows? Who gives a shit? Not my problem. I mean, these Todd Howard designed cars, fucking terrible, man. They all look the same, and the roads, all the same texture. The shrubs kind of look all the same. Same bottles. What is this? It's a Sunset Sarsaparilla? No, it's a margarita. It's a new one. It's a new one, Todd. I was expecting like a Coca-Cola bottle or a Aristocrat or a good job, Todd. Todd was the name of the stepfather in Terminator 2, right? So I could do like a Todd joke. He was like, Todd. He'd be snarky. He'd be like, hey, Todd, what's going on with the traffic, Todd? This traffic's really annoying, Todd. Could you design your traffic patterns a little better? I'm sneaking by here. I don't care what that car does. Okay, I made it past there. There's a little known YouTube movement called Human Frogger, and these people will they will go to like LA or New York or one of those big highways, so they try and make it across the highway. It's called the Human Frogger game. You try and make it across highways, and you record yourself doing it. There's an idea. That'd be kind of cool. I won't do that to myself. I will just throw that idea into the ether. And then other human beings, someone's already done that, right? Like the Human Frogger YouTube channel. And then they play music and they're like, today we're going to try and make it across the highway. And they try and do it how many times in an hour they could do it. That would be a challenge. How many times can you make it across like a super busy highway? And they get hit, they record it, and they keep going because it's a challenge. You got to do the challenge of it, you know. The challenge is to whatever the most dangerous highway to I don't want to say circumvent, whatever circumvent is, but to go across. To go across is probably just go across. Don't say circumvent. Go across. Go across the highway. Go across the highway. Here's a tuxedo shop. You want to look handsome? You can go to the tuxedo shop and look like $1 million. Here's a serious question: Is the tuxedo? Would you rather? How much of the tuxedo makes the person versus the? Because there's that old line: you can put a lipstick, you can put a pig in lipstick, but you can't take the lipstick out of the pig. Or there's some story like that, right? You can put the lipstick in the pig, but you can't take the lipstick out of the pig. I don't know. There's a joke in there somewhere. Not really. U.S. Department of Agriculture. You're going out of business. Trump's gonna fuck you. You lost your job. I don't know if he'd fuck with them. Maybe he would. In the 80s, was Reagan a fan of? Because they always had farm subsidies, right? Is he going to be pro or anti-farm subsidies? You know, now it's all Monsanto. Does Trump want to give Monsanto a bunch of money? It's no longer them mom and pop farmers, right? When I was a kid, little buckaroo, it was mom and pop farmers. Now it's all Monsanto, and it's all owned by, I don't know, Monsanto? BlackRock? BlackRock is owned by, I don't remember, some Bond guy, some Bond villain. He has a white cat. He looks to stroke his white cat. Larry Fink with his white cat in a wheelchair. He doesn't have a wheelchair, but he has a white cat and he strokes it. Anyone who makes more money than me has a white cat and they stroke it, and they're evil. They're probably evil. What was that guy's name from James Bond who had a white cat? I don't know. It was a long time ago. James Bond. Dr. No. Dr. No? So exhausting. 3 hours and 43 minutes of walking around aimlessly, trying to come up with a joke. I don't think I came up with any. Did I come up with any jokes today? What was the moral of today's joke session? What was the moral? The moral was, that one area had a circle in it, and it didn't have an out, but they were nice houses. There was UAV swarms with spider webs. There was a really long Hitler joke. There was the Barra twink joke from way earlier. There was the joke about, I think he did like an hour Hitler joke, but it's more of a World War II Hitler joke. He didn't finish it. You know, sometimes you finish it a little better, because the premise of the joke is the author of the joke is filled with misanthropy, and they see all human beings as Hitler, and then at the end of the joke, it's supposed to be that there's some sort of catharsis about all human beings are Hitler, but then you have sympathy for Hitler. So I could sing like the Sympathy for the Devil song. You know that, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year, stole many man's wealth and fame. Taste, fame, whatever. Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. Do is the nature of my game. Do. Here's a UPS truck. Hey, UPS truck. You got your lights on? It's kind of dark. Is he turning? He's turning. So I'll let him go, and then I will jaywalk the 2-lane residential road. Pleased to meet you. I hope you guess my name. It's the nature of my game. Huh. There was this terrible crack skit where they do this thing where they're trying to make up their own TV shows. You know, because I don't know, where did TV shows come into this? They're making up TV shows, and then they're like, what if you had a TV show where like everything was connected to everything, and then like the cop was connected to the criminal, and the actors were not really the actors. The city was the actual star of the show. And they're like, oh shit, we just made The Wire. I think I was watching YouTube videos of The Wire where the guy takes the stuff out of order and he just takes one plot and he puts it all into one. So instead of it jumping around, they just do like two people's stories. They'll just do like the lawyer story or the cop story. It was in the background. I was watching it in the background. I wasn't like watching it, but it was okay. I guess that's why that joke went into my head. Because that was good old Omar. And Omar got set up. He didn't shoot the place, but the one drug dealer had him shoot up the place. And then that show was mean. It had a lot of mean people in it. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Because I think it might have been in my head too, because you know, every saint's a sinner, all the cops are criminals. And I think it's in that song, that Rolling Stones song too. So probably is where it's connecting from. That's the string that connects that to that. If there is a string. If there is the floor is lava. Have I done that joke? The floor is lava. The floor is lava joke is the joke about if you do acid, the floor becomes lava. But that's for a normal person. What if the floor was always lava? The floor has always been lava for me. I see lava already. Fuck you. My brain already sees the lava. I take LSD and I see a solid world. There's no lava. There's a short story stupid idea. Person who sees the world as lava takes acid and the world is no longer lava. It is now. Okay, that's not that good. It's kind of like there's a Family Guy joke where like Peter Griffin says something like, one time I did drugs and reality became too real. And they do this like flash away to like a real world Peter Griffith, and it's very creepy, very unsettling, very off-putting. Huh. I once did drugs, life became a little too real. I don't like drug world, I like clean world. Or, you know, I don't know, or maybe the floor is already lava. Huh. The floor is lava. I don't know if I did that joke. The joke was, not Yeats. Who's the other poet guy? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. that poet, you know, he was walking around looking at lava. Everything he saw was lava. Fucking jackass. See, I'm getting this program's awesome because, you know, I was doing 30 gigs for 3 hours, and this will probably do like 2 gigs for 4 hours. So it's not killing my battery, and it's not killing my hard drive space either. And I can upload 2 or 3 gigs to YouTube. So ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. When it rains, it pours, bitches. When it rains, it pours, bitches. When it rains, it pours, bitches. It's like a snowball. Snowball once it gets going. You gotta get them snowballs going. It's not cold enough for snowballs right now. Snow cones, you gotta get a snow cone going. Get some of that flavor juice. Some snow cones and a flavor juice. Snow cones and some flavor juice. Gatorade bottle. You know, I started buying Gatorade by the powder. I don't know if it's that good of a deal. It's probably a pretty good deal. I wonder what I save by drinking. But I haven't been drinking a lot of Gatorade lately. But I still have a big old thing of Gatorade powder. And that could connect to my goy joke. Because goy jokes are about when people buy. You know, when you buy goy prices. You know, goy prices are... Go to the gas station and buy that goy Gatorade for $3 a bottle, $2 a bottle. Goy prices. The ADL. I wonder if the ADL is okay with me making goy jokes. Because I'm identifying as a Jew when I make goy jokes. Because, like, the goys are idiots. And I'm identifying as a snobbish Jew who looks down on you goys who pay goy prices. You know, you pay the middlemen. And as a person who identifies as a Jew, I'm not Jewish, I just identify with the smart aspects of Judaism. I don't believe in any of that Judaistic religious stuff. I like the idea of making people pay me vigorish. I like the idea of, I want to have a casting couch someday. I'd like to have a casting couch, and I'd like to have, you know, like a $1 billion house in LA, and I'd like to own the banks. That's kind of anti-Semitic. The very, ADL's not going to like those jokes. ADL's going to come after me. I mean, what is the ADL going to do? You know, the only people I'm scared of are them Muslim fellas. They have the box cutters. They'll come and find you. They'll cut your head off. If you're a teacher and you make fun of Allah, they'll come over and they'll box cut your head off. They did that in, like, France. What's the ADL going to do? You know, pretty sure, well, they have lawyers and stuff. I'm in Alabama. I don't think, does Alabama have, we're good at protecting ourselves from the ADL in Alabama. We know how to keep those liberals out. I'm not even a conservative. You're just falsely pretending to be a conservative to, you know, trying to throw salt at the ADL. You just want to start trouble. You troublemaker. You rapscallion. Rapscallion. Where's that word from? Rapscallion. Hullabaloo. Hullabaloo. What's the opposite of a hullabaloo? It's a hullabaloo, rapscallion. Hullabaloo. What's the opposite of a? Because the opposite of a hullabaloo, you'll hear people say that word, but you won't hear hullabaloo. Is it hullabaloo? I don't know. Fuck it. Rapscallion. Trying to use words you have no clue what they mean. Fucking rapscallion. That's a joke though too. You're stealing jokes. Thief joker. The copy paste joker. Copy paste joker. There was that 4chan meme of like what villain do you identify with? And it's the Kafka meme for 4chan. It's a copy pasta. You know, I identify as Kafka with a wicked sense of humor. Okay, but unironically, I've never played Final Fantasy VI, but I've watched probably an hour of YouTube videos about Kafka. Very fun character, very nice fella. You know, he's got a cool laugh, very cool laugh, nice fella. The Joker memes, the jester, the Q character. Q is a better character. Q is the best of all. jokers. The Loki character. Loki had a TV show. It wasn't that bad. It was decent. You know, he ends up being like a god at the end of the second season, or he's a creator of stories. He grabs these wires. You gotta grab wires. And you gotta fight the black man, because the black man is trying to hold you down. That Kang. The Kangs are always trying to hold you down. Kang trying to hold me down, so I put on my thorn hat and I grab a bunch of green wires. Kind of racist, Disney. You holding the Kangs down, man. Stop holding the Kangs down. Kind of a bit of a white supremacist TV show. I'm offended by you, Disney. You offend me. You offend me. I'm offended. I got like a minute left here, so what was the moral? There was no moral. It was just an excuse for me to walk around. That's all this was. This wasn't for your entertainment. I'll tell you right now. I don't expect to get a view out of this. I actually don't want a view. As long as I don't get any views, I can keep my faith in humanity. Okay, 30 seconds left. Was there a moral? Yeah. The moral was walk around, right? Walk around. Walk around. Walk around. Yep. See ya.